were sitting in the passenger side, messing with the radio. You had your sunglasses on. I pulled over cause I couldn't believe 2 weeks ago that was you and me, riding down these old back roads, singing our songs. Now everybody around our town's been whispering, a tear in your eye says I should have been listening. Baby, is someone else calling you, baby? It's driving me crazy, this being in the dark. Goodbye ain't ever easy, so break it to me hard. If you're over my love, girl, lay it on my heart. Don't try to save me. Is someone else calling you, baby? You wanted time and you wanted your space, so I backed off with whatever it takes. Never really thought you were that ready for moving along. Now I ain't leaving till I hear you say what's going on. It'll be what it will be. It's either him or me. Give me the word and girl, I'm gone. Baby, is someone else calling you, baby? It's driving me crazy, this being in the dark. Goodbye ain't ever easy, so break it to me hard. If you're over my love, girl, lay it on my heart. Don't try to save me. Is someone else calling you, baby? No goodbye ain't ever easy, so break it to me hard. If you're over my love, girl, lay it on my heart. Don't try to save me. Is someone else calling you, baby? No, don't try to save me. Is someone else calling you, baby? Is someone else calling you, baby?
WKCN Fort Moore, Columbus.
My country is on.
It's Russell Dickerson's Brothers Osborne.
Hey, this is Ashley McBride.
New Hot Country.
This is the best music.
Kissin' 99.
Your home for the SportsVisions morning show. SportsVisions 92.1. You're listening to the SportsVisions morning show, brought to you by Global Diagnostic Services and the Finley Firm. Here's DJ Jones and Thrift Barringer.
Good Monday morning and welcome everybody to another edition of the SportsVisions morning show. I am Walter and Betty Jones's baby boy, Daryl DJ Jones, Coach Bush's grandson. We call him the Thrifter, Thrift Barringer. Good morning.
Great morning. DJ is ready to rock and roll on this Monday.
And driving the plane as he has all last week. His name is Richard Holdridge. Richard, good morning to you.
Good morning, DJ. Glad to be back. Great weekend.
Boy, you're full of energy this morning. I love it. I love it. Hey, man, listen, we're one last day in June, and it's unbelievably flying through here, man. We're going into July. Next week is the 4th of July week, and man, I tell you what, we are excited that we have gone almost 7 months of sports talk radio right here in Columbus, Georgia. And of course, it's Monday, which is the first day of the week. We are so happy to get the day started with you, and of course, to help you get your day started. We are here to entertain, educate, and inform you on the goings on in the world of sports. But first and foremost, I just want to say good morning to all of our folks out there that are listening in. And we want to let you know that we are so happy that we have an opportunity once again this Monday morning to get the week started. First and foremost, let's go ahead and just talk about, what was special about your weekend. I know I got a call from you yesterday or the day before yesterday with the fact that you guys were in Hotlanta.
Yeah, we were. We actually went there to go to IKEA. And if you've never been to IKEA, which I feel like I was one of very few people that have never been, it is a Swedish store. And in the store, it's just a huge maze of 2 stories of all different types of houseware, furniture, ways to compartmentalize, organize your room. It is just a massive, massive place. And in there, they also have a restaurant, and they're known for their Swedish meatballs, which, that's what Swedes are known for. So good time up at IKEA. Left out from IKEA to went to Atlantic Station. There's a lot of things to do at Atlantic Station. Went to Angry Crab and had the seafood boiled there and got dirty and grubbed, and then had a thing called Yo-Nuts. And the only reason I'm shouting it out because this is apparently a phenomenon that is only in Atlanta. They take donuts and ice cream and put the ice cream in the middle of it. And you're basically eating a donut ice cream sandwich, DJ. It was absolutely delicious.
Good eating. Good. Sounds like you guys did it up, man. But I tell you what, that IKEA deal, I lived in Atlanta for a long time.
Yeah.
Go in and out of Atlanta all the time. And don't think I've heard of IKEA, so don't feel bad that you just
Natalie made me feel like, what are you doing? How do you not know about this? I was amazed at what I was walking through, DJ. It really wasn't. And then in the store, you can only go one way. Okay, so it literally is a maze that you got to go all the way around, go through to get out of there to where you can check out.
So what part of the city was IKEA?
It's just, right in Midtown, literally next to Atlantic Station and the Putt Shack and all that. So it was a lot of fun. And then Sunday did a bunch of, always got to do the to-do list, DJ. Always got to catch up. And so that was pretty much it. Really a relaxing weekend, but we decided to make an Atlanta day. And it didn't rain too bad. When it did rain, we were usually either in the store or eating. So it wasn't like I was having to drive in the rain. So all in all, it was a great day.
And Rich, how about you? How was your weekend?
Well, Saturday started with my honey-do list. I got up early in the morning, mowed the lawn, cut all the limbs down on all the trees. And then I got ready and took the kids to Urban Air, where they were there pretty much all day. And I tell you what, that feels like a theme park because you could spend all day there, and there's plenty of stuff for the kids to do. They don't have to just jump on the trampolines. They can go zip lining. They can use the ropes courts. They even played laser tag. So, and I did not get a ticket myself. I sat back. They got a phone charge. I was charging my phone, watching sports on TV, and just laid back and, kind of keeping an eye on them every now and then. But, it was a pretty relaxed day on Saturday, taking them to Urban Air.
Good deal. Actually, my weekend got started on Friday. Had the opportunity to go down to Tampa. I heard you guys on Friday. You guys did a hell of a show, hell of a job. And again, I appreciate you guys, stepping in the gap. Of course, going down to support Mrs. Candy and her events down there, of course, with Tea and Conversation, which was just an impeccable program ceremony. Just definitely celebrating the fact that, Candy has started in this particular event. She has a tremendous team. Don't get me wrong, but she was really the vital part of starting this event where elected officials and people that are running for office and all kinds of folks that come together for the common good of Hillsborough County, which is the county that Tampa, in which they resided in. And man, you're talking about judges and who's who. I mean, it was like at least a dozen judges or so that were present, that are currently sitting on the bench that either had gained the information of how they do their jobs by coming to Tea and Conversation and having conversations with the people in the community, or they either were elected by the people and got the opportunity to get their publicity and a lot of the things that started them on their way. And of course, a great person that we're going to have on today is also former minor league baseball player, Judge Robin Fuson. And he's a good friend of ours, a great loyal supporter of Miss Candy, and he's going to come on. And I want you, for those of you who have heard him about 4 or 5 months ago, just a lifer in minor league baseball, but of course decided that he was going to change his career path and he was going to go into the law field. But it's always good to talk to Robin, and I wanted to also bring him on as a person that, as gaining the popularity and gaining a lot of knowledge as a sitting judge right now in Hillsborough County. He comes to Tea and Conversation religiously. I guess they have it once a month on every second Saturday. But he's going to give a little insight as well. But man, you talk about having an opportunity to, Tampa is my newfound home. I love it because I get to, get good food. Obviously, you got the beach right there. Ybor City is my second home. I love my relatives down there in the city. However, I say my goodbyes, I say my hellos, I say my goodbyes, and then I head out to the city. But guys, I tell you, man, it's nothing like it. I needed that quick getaway, and in celebrating Candy and all the things. I mean, it was like she's got all kind of proclamations and accommodations and all whatever, certificates from every field of human endeavor you can imagine in government. And it's just, it blows my mind to know how popular, how much of a rock star she is in that community.
No doubt, DJ. And that's what I was talking about on Friday, is having the ability where people can feel like they have a voice to speak to elected officials. I don't think it is stated enough how important that is. And I feel like we kind of lack it here. I know we have the council. I'm talking about something outside the council, something that makes it more formal, like they're among the people at a restaurant or wherever it may be. And I think it is awesome. And she should be celebrated. And I just wish we had stuff like this in this city. I think we need it more than ever. But I'm so glad she got recognized, DJ. That is awesome. And we're going to continue to support Aunt Candy right here on SportsVisions.
Absolutely. And guys, I tell you, when you talk about, what was going on, what's actually going on right now, it's just kind of a lull because, again, in a couple of weeks, you guys, we'll be heading up to Atlanta for the SEC Media Days. And I know that we kind of been talking bits and pieces about how we're going to do it, when we're going to do it, what we're going to do. And Thrift, I know that from a standpoint of live hits from any and all parts of the SEC Media Day in Atlanta, boots on the ground, we're going to be there. And obviously, can you give us some kind of an indication or an executive summary of what you're thinking?
Yeah, so we're going to have multiple hits there, and if we're able to grab and do an interview, we're going to do that. But the only way you're going to have access live on it will be rehashed, and it can be played on the radio later on, but live on, because we're going to be up there on Monday, right after the show, Tuesday and Wednesday, and coming back Thursday, and this is July 14th through the 18th. You're going to have to follow us on Facebook and YouTube. That's where you're going to get all the information. We'll have console live hits, so you can see a live show. You can see interviews. Anything that we're doing SEC Media Days will be on our Facebook and our YouTube. So it is imperative that you like us and follow us on social media. We keep telling you over and over again. And then later on, when we get back, we'll be able to rehash all of that, DJ. And so we're excited. I know Richard, he got his credential, and he was like a kid in a candy shop, man. Just excited.
Tell us about that experience, Richard. Obviously, I don't know what you were doing and when you got the notification, but again, that's one of those that you got. And I know for me, it was the same way. It's going to be in this business. That's going to be one of the all-time favorites.
Well, I got a call from Thrift. He said, check your email. I was like, why? I was like, and so I do. I check my email, and I wasted no time. I actually saw those words in cap in bold. It said approved, and it was an exciting feeling. And I'm just jumping for joy, and I'm just excited that I get to be a part of SEC Media Days. It's something I've always wanted to do as a member of the media, and I think the most important thing is networking with pretty much the who's who when it comes to the media members that will be here at SEC Media Day.
So in comparison to gaining a stripe, and again, this is I'm just kidding with that. As far as military stripes and versus getting your credentials, how does that compare?
Well, I mean, it's different, but promotion is a big deal in the military as well. I mean, I had my family there, and we have a ceremony, but the most importantly, the thing about a promotion, even though you get that respect, you also get a pay raise. So that's how cool it is to get promoted. But yeah, it's just a different experience.
So you didn't round up the girls and wife and say, honey, I got my credentials to the SEC Media Day.
Oh yeah. I was like, hey, let's pack the car, kids. We're going to SEC Media Day. I don't know if it works that way, but we do have family members in the Metro Atlanta area. So that's also an opportunity. If they want to come up, I mean, they can always visit family, and I think that would be a good idea as well.
All right, let's do this. Let me go ahead and let you know who's going to be coming on. I made mention of Judge Robin Fuson, who is a sitting judge in Hillsborough County, and of course, he's just a tremendous guy, but a super great former baseball pitcher, if you will. And Robin will get an opportunity to share with us not only his chase and his dreams of pursuing a Major League Baseball career through the minor leagues, but also how he came to had a come to Jesus speech with himself and decided that he was going to move on and try the law industry. And of course, he's now a sitting judge in Hillsborough County, which is in Tampa, Florida. Mike Vee, ladies and gentlemen, you've been hearing that name touch and go for a long, long time. I know that when I mentioned him, I mentioned that he's the guy that I teamed up with in the first sports talk radio station show in this town back in 1997. We launched in August, and I tell you, the Mike Vee and DJ Jones show, it hit the community by storm. And, again, here it is, this guy, this northerner from Boston with this thick Boston accent, and this southern guy from right here in your hometown of Columbus, Georgia, have an opportunity to chop it up. And Thrift, I tell you, man, we used to do more yelling and screaming at each other than you could imagine. But back then, obviously, it was kind of, it was the Oprah Winfrey for men. That's nothing better to say than it's Oprah Winfrey for men. Men, law enforcement officers, anybody, if you worked in your car, if you were in your car anytime during the afternoon drive that we were on, that was, it was a hit around this town. And like I said, having him on, and I haven't talked to him in quite some time. It's probably been 10 years that I've talked to him, but he's doing well. He's still in the music industry. For those folks who know Mike Vee, in addition to him having the great gift of as an announcer, as a broadcaster, he was a karaoke host, and he a traveling karaoke show, and he's still doing that to this day. And he operates out of Opelika, but he's in Columbus and the surrounding areas a great deal. But going to have him on, Thrift, and I know that the old timers out there that remember Mike Vee, man, that was a good time.
Yeah, I can't wait. This is my first time ever talking to him. I've heard a lot of great stories, and wish we could get some of those archives of some of them old shows.
Yes.
Talking about doing the best of. We could just get one segment in which you and him are yelling at each other. That would have been a lot of fun. But looking forward to having Mike Vee on.
Absolutely, Mike. I tell you, Thrift, I don't know, Richard, if you had the pleasure of knowing who or hearing about Mike Vee, but he's a legend.
Oh, absolutely. I've heard of Mike Vee from you, but it was a little before like the time I actually arrived in Columbus. But really, you guys paved the way for local sports talk radio. I think it's awesome. I wish we could get some archives because that would just be fascinating just to hear the banter back and forth between you and Mike Vee.
Alan Woodall was the owner of 540 AM, the sports monster at that time. And, of course, I don't know how far back we could go. I know that Jimbo is related to him. So, a lot of the dealings and a lot of the records and I don't know how they do that as far as, the archives. But
yeah.
You know what? I'm sure, and I know it wasn't as sophisticated as today with the systems that we're on here with, what we got going on, as far as all the equipment and all the fancy stuff.
I think we can make something work. Ask not, have not, DJ. So we're just going to have to make sure we can ask and see if we can find something.
Yep, absolutely. And then, of course, with football season, high school football season, and particularly not too far away, but here's a familiar guy that, a lot of people have an opportunity to get to, watch, but you don't get to talk to him or at least to hear from him. And that's John Nelson from Georgia Public Broadcasting Sports. And he's a host. And again, during the playoffs and throughout the season, this guy, they do some amazing things with high school football based out of Atlanta, Georgia. But Nelly, as we call him, he's an icon in his own right. Very, very great reporter, host, broadcaster, whatever his assignments. He's right up there at the top as far as high school football is concerned. And he's also a member of the Georgia High School Football Hall of Fame board with myself.
Yeah, I think this guy, Johnny Nelson, who's also an author and wrote many books. I always enjoy his personality, and I know he's getting ready for another great season on GPB Sports this year.
And I told them, Richard, I said I wanted you to come on. I know that in the preseason, I know people are getting ready, but what do you do to get ready? I want to bring you on to let everybody know because normally they see you, they get hits of you during the regular season of high school, but you know what? They get a smorgasbord, a doggone buffet of him during the GPB broadcast during the high school playoffs in the state championship. But he's going to come on and talk about. And what I didn't know is that he actually has started a show, and it's going to be coming on at about 9 o'clock. But so we're going to have him on for about 10, 15 minutes to have an opportunity to talk to John Nelson. We call him affectionately Nelly.
Yeah, he has his podcast that he does called Football Fridays with Hannah Gooden. And when it comes to the plethora of knowledge for Georgia high school football. I can't think of anybody better than John Nelson. He knows just about every little detail for every high school in the state of Georgia. And I love picking his brain. I love the fact that, we get ready for high school football. I mean, he's pretty much the go-to guy when you want to get the knowledge about the upcoming season. I'm trying to do my homework, trying to recap last year, but looking at the schedule that the GHSA just put out. And also when we have those championships, he's the one that hands the trophy to the team. And so we saw him hand the trophy to Coach Pierre Coffey and the Carver Tigers. He also did the same thing, handed the trophy over to Coach Ellison and the Hardaway Lady Hawks. All
right, so look, we're going to go ahead and take our first break of the day. When we come back, last week we had the NBA draft rounds 1 and 2 on Wednesday and Thursday. Of course, today is free agency day. And, of course, everything open up, the checkbooks open up. And, again, the pens are all ready to roll to go re-ink everybody. But we didn't talk about a certain guy who just happened to have been one of the most decorated basketball players in the history of Auburn basketball, who was drafted last week. And we're going to chop it up and talk about him and a whole lot more. You're watching Facebook Live, and you're listening to WLTC HD2 SportsVisions 921. This is the SportsVisions Morning Show.
If it's local, it's on the SportsVisions Morning Show with former Georgia Bulldog DJ Jones and Thrift Barringer.
Good morning. I'm Rex Castillo. Here's a look at your morning headlines. If you live in the following areas of Phoenix City, 12th Avenue from 14th Place to 17th Street, along 14th Place, 15th Street, and 15th Place and 17th Street, you're advised to boil water for 3 minutes or use bottled water for the next 3 to 5 days. The boiling notice comes after the city found a severe water leak. And officials say in order to make repairs, water needs to be turned off. If not, there's a potential for fecal contamination or other disease-causing bacteria to enter the water distribution system. Meanwhile, Russell County Sheriff's deputies will be out on Highway 431 and other major roads in the county, beefing up patrols. The state of Alabama hands out millions of dollars a year to local law enforcement agencies to run speed enforcement. The Russell County Sheriff's Office gets about $50,000 of that. Now that can spell trouble for those with a heavy foot and Florida in their sights. From WRBL News 3, I'm Rex Castillo. Have a great rest of your Monday.
Good Monday morning. We are off to a partly cloudy start, and those temperatures are more seasonal with readings in the low 70s, but expect a few localized areas of fog as we head towards daybreak. But it's going to be more of the same old summertime weather pattern across the area as we wrap up the month of June. Today's temperatures climb in the low 90s for highs with an isolated rain chance through the evening. We are tracking a better chance of showers and storms in the forecast for your Tuesday.
Celebrate America's birthday all weekend long at Synovus Park as the Columbus Clinkstones battle the Montgomery Biscuits July 4th through the 6th. It all starts Friday with a red, white, and boom kind of night. A dazzling post-game fireworks display presented by Piedmont Health. On Saturday, the first 1,000 fans 21 and over score a free Clinkstones floppy hat courtesy of Cutwater. And kids can run the bases after the game thanks to Witt's Frozen Custard. Sunday wraps it up with 706 Day Fuzzy's Kids Club. Get your tickets now at clinkstones.com.
Corey's Furniture Express, your express way to save.
If you're looking for furniture, you need to shop Gory's Furniture Express. It's the largest furniture store around with over 106,000 square feet of in-stock merchandise with new shipments arriving weekly. Locally owned and operated with everything you need from rugs to recliners to sofas and more. And that's only at Gory's Furniture, Alabama Highway 169 in Opelika.
Employee pricing for all is still going strong at Rivertown Ford in Columbus. Through July 7th, we're extending your opportunity to pay what we pay across the entire lineup of in-stock Ford trucks and SUVs. Tap into the powerful capabilities of any 2024 Ford F-150 with financing as low as 3.9 APR for 72 months, plus up to $2,750 in retail bonus cash and $1,000 trade assistance on top of already low employee pricing. Or take the whole family on epic adventures with employee pricing on all 2024 Ford Expeditions. Unlock even more unbelievable savings with up to $4,000 customer cash plus 2 years or 24,000 miles prepaid maintenance as you travel in style and comfort. From America, for America. Get outstanding Ford performance at employee prices with Rivertown Ford in our showroom or online at rivertownford.com. Offer ends July 7th, 2025. Not all buyers will qualify. See dealer for complete details.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code AIRPORT25 to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code AIRPORT25 for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code AIRPORT25 for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Your home for the Dan Patrick Show, 9 to 12 on SportsVisions 92.1. Now back to the SportsVisions Morning Show. Here's former Green Bay Packer DJ Jones and Thrift Barringer.
Welcome back to the SportsVisions Morning Show. Good Monday morning, everybody. We hope that you're up and at 'em and ready to roll. And I know that you folks that are walking in Lake Bottom listening right now in your ear pods, of course, on your ear. Of course, we are happy to help you keep that pep in your step. Or maybe you're in your neighborhood, not necessarily Lake Bottom, but the fact of the matter that you're getting it in, getting your steps in before the heat comes, because it's summertime, baby, and it's going to be hot. Prior to going to the break, we talked about the NBA draft that came and went, and last week on Wednesday and Thursday, 2 days that I thought they probably should have just taken one, but you know how everybody's trying to monetize things and stretch that money out. They turned it into a 2-day deal, Thrift. But the fact of the matter is that one of the great players in Auburn basketball history, Jabari Broom. He is Janai Broom. I'm sorry, Janai Broom. I got Jamar Smith on the brain myself because he's got a hell of a payday. But the fact of the matter is that Mr. Broom has gone. He went in the 35th pick, so he was in the second round. Went second day, Thrift, and a guy that decorated as far as players of the year, SEC player of the year, leading his team to the Final Four, being literally named to every all-star team that there was. There was a bit of a letdown, I think, to take him in the second round, and I'm sure he is definitely happy to have the opportunity to play at the next level. But for whatever reasons, why didn't he go in the first round, in your opinion?
I think a lot of the fact had to do with him being an older player. He's only about 6'8", 6'9", maybe 6'10" on a good day, depending on who's measuring him. And they just feel like back to the basket, throw the ball in the post, and let him go to work type player. We don't see that much. The Zach Randolphs. If this was 15 years ago, Broom's a first-round pick. But because of that, he's going to have to get a more consistent jumper, because you want to play at the power forward, you got to be able to hit threes. Okay, no one is just sitting there dumping it down and running the offense to Janai Broom. So if they're not doing that, how is he getting his points? How is he getting his touches? Which is kind of the reason why he went later in the first round. He probably could have been a late first-round pick. I know he ended up going early in the second round, but I think Janai is going to be a formidable player that gets minutes in the NBA that plays 5 to 10 years. I don't know if he's going to be a star. I don't say all-star. I don't even know if he's a consistent role player, but I think he's a guy that'll be on a team to contribute. And I think he's a smart basketball player. So we'll see if it works out, but he's got to get a better three-point jump shot.
Richard, does the locker room leadership does that have any matter, any dealings with regards to how people evaluate you? And again, going to the next level, he's a guy that, he's older. Yes, he is older. He's mature. But, there seems to have been a lot of talk about his leadership and again, how he was able to, make everybody, feel good about giving their all every day, each and every practice. So, I mean, what's your thoughts?
I think that is a huge factor, that he could end up being a locker room guy for the Sixers, especially with the turmoil they're going to be facing with Joel Embiid being unhappy. We don't know what's going to happen with Paul George, Tyrese Maxey. They just drafted VJ Edgecombe. I do think that there is a role for Janai Broom. Like Thrift mentioned, he does have to work on his three-point shot, but, he is a rim protector, a post player. I know in old school NBA, I mean, he would have been a first-round pick no doubt about it. But, it's the league has changed a little bit. So they want you to have a perimeter game, to have an outside shot. But I still think that Johni Broome is going to have a huge role for the Sixers.
As great a guy as he's going to be, and I have no doubt, like you, Thrifty, I think that he definitely will make a roster, and he'll definitely be an impactful player. But just to get right down to the sheer physical nature of it, the fact of the matter is I did not know that he only had a 28-inch vertical jump. That was something that, especially today when you're a 6'8", 6'9" guy, you're down low, and you don't have that explosive ups. It's a difference maker. And I think as it pertains to the professional evaluation, that had a lot to do with it in addition to his age. But I think his age didn't weigh in as much as, the actual physical nature of him being an explosive guy and not being a 7-footer who obviously with that extra length. But when you're 6'8", 6'9", man, most guys have, 40-inch verticals or plus.
So, and that's where the league is headed. You look at the top 10, DJ. For one, Ace Bailey is about as tall as Johni Broome, and yet he's a guard. Okay, so the size kind of worked against him. The explosiveness, as you made mention, these teams, they want 7-footers and 6'9", 6'10", rim runners that can dunk on you and block shots. He is a good defender, but he's a smart defender. He's not an explosive defender. And I think that's where it's going to really cause him not to be what he was in college, which was a dominant post player. I just don't see a team saying, hey, I'm going to give you 10 to 15 touches, turn your back to the basket, and just work somebody. No one's running their offense like that because it's about shooting threes, having explosive athletes to throw lobs to and dunks, or he can be in that dunk position for most NBA offenses, and that's just not his game. So this is why he's not a first-round pick, but the most decorated player in Auburn basketball history, there's no doubt. He'll be a college basketball Hall of Famer, and was really, really proud to say he was an Auburn Tiger and everything he accomplished while being at Auburn.
And, while we're talking NBA draft, I know that his free agency starts today. And I know that another former Auburn player who is, I tell you what, he's just been spectacular with regards to the favor that's come his way. He's going to get another extension, a rookie extension, in excess over $120 million for the next several years. And that's Jabari Smith. And I know, Thrift, that we talked about him, again, it's hard to believe 3 years ago that he was, we were talking about 3 years have gone by, and here's this guy getting ready for his second contract.
And, right. I mean, he got drafted in 2022, and now it is already 2025. So he's already went through his rookie contract. And many people thought he was going to be in that KD trade. How? I don't know. And Phoenix, you should be ashamed of yourself that you didn't ask for him. But if you're Houston, you got to keep him, and then he gets to learn from a guy that many people compared him to in Kevin Durant, long, athletic, can shoot. Jabari's 6'10", 6'11", so is KD. I think this is a smart move. I still believe in Jabari. I think he didn't get many touches the last couple of years because he's played with the biggest ball hog in the NBA and Jalen Green. Jalen Green's gone. Now he's back to basketball. Is he going to put up 20? No, but I think he can easily put up 15 and close to 10 rebounds, and then be a guy that they kind of build around as Kevin Durant will move on as he's getting older. Fred VanVleet's going to move on, and now you got that core of Amen Thompson, Jabari Smith, and Alperen Şengün. Love this move by the Houston Rockets and getting KD. It's a great offseason. Shout out to Rex Castillo because I know he is happy.
Absolutely. Richard, what you think as far as this course deadline, or at least the NBA free agency starting today, and anything that was left over from the draft that you thought about?
Well, I thought that the draft there was no question that Cooper Flagg was the surefire all-star that's going to be having an impact year one in Dallas. I like what the Spurs did getting Dylan Harper. I think that backcourt's going to get a little crowded with Stephon Castle, De'Aaron Fox, and Dylan Harper. Maybe they make a move in free agency and they try to maybe move some pieces. But the fact of the matter is Jabari Smith getting paid, he is going to have an impact. Kevin Durant going to the Rockets, this is definitely a different situation than going to the Brooklyn Nets or the Phoenix Suns. I mean, he's not going to a situation where there's two other superstars, and so they're trying to form a big three. The Houston Rockets have a deep bench. They have a great coach in Ime Udoka. I think that they're going to be set up for success. I saw some other moves, like James Harden decided to stay with the Clippers. You had Julius Randle decide to stay with the Minnesota Timberwolves. Not a whole lot in free agency as far as getting the big get in free agency, but I think the teams are set up. And I know that the league is got to be indifferent about what Commissioner Adam Silver has seen with the NBA. The state of the NBA is in good shape because we're seeing small market teams win championships, but it's 7 teams in the last 7 years. The years of those dynasties like the Spurs and then the Warriors, I think those years are done.
Thrift, I know that, bringing it a little closer to home, the Atlanta Hawks got the benefit of getting Asa Newell, of course, the outstanding young player out of University of Georgia. But, in this day and time, and obviously trying to sell tickets, it behooves you, especially the teams out of Atlanta, to draw on those teams from right here in the state, in University of Georgia, Georgia Tech, even Kennesaw State, and hopefully in the future years, Georgia State. But more importantly, the Hawks made the decision to, of course, make the moves to get Asa Newell.
Yeah, Asa is going to be a guy that gets to sit behind Okongwu and Kristaps Porzingis, so he'll be able to learn. He's got no jump shot, but the guy can rim run. He can finish around the rim. He can rebound, and he can score. He just don't got a really good jump shot, and that's what they're going to want him to do again, the stretch 4 where he plays. But I think the biggest thing with the Atlanta Hawks, they look like a front office that is going to take a hold of what is a wide open Eastern Conference. Kind of not been swept under the rug was that the Pelicans traded the number 23 pick. They move up because the Hawks originally had the number 13 pick, and the Pelicans wanted Derek Queen so bad they traded the first round pick this year, which is 23, and then they told the Atlanta Hawks, we'll give you an unprotected first round pick for next year. Let me explain this, everyone. They're basically drafting Derek Queen to be the replacement for Zion. So if they do trade Zion, the Pelicans, who were one of the worst teams in basketball last year, are going to be even worse this year in a loaded Western Conference. What does that mean? That means they could have a top 5 pick. The Hawks next year could win 50 games, make it to the Eastern Conference Finals, and still have a top 5 pick because of the New Orleans Pelicans thinking that's how good Derek Queen is. This is another fleecing. This is another time the Hawks have taken advantage of the Pelicans. They got the most improved player last year in Dyson Daniels for DeJounte Murray, and they did it again the very next year and get an unprotected first-round pick. And now the Hawks, I think they have one of the best situations in the entire Eastern Conference, DJ, because look, Kristaps Porzingis comes off the books next year, so if it doesn't work, it's okay. Trae Young also will start to come off the books. You can trade him and go get assets for him. You got the 3 young core of Richard Shea, Jalen Johnson, and Dyson Daniels you can build around. You potentially could have a top 10 pick. I love where the Hawks are at right now, and I love the fact that if the Pacers can make the NBA Finals, why can't our Atlanta Hawks not make it? So I'm being optimistic, and I really like what the Hawks are doing this offseason.
All right. And again, while we're talking the NBA, we might as well go ahead and throw in a guy that probably has a longer tooth in the game than anybody. And, of course, LeBron James. Obviously, he has to have come to Jesus meeting with his agent as well as the Los Angeles Lakers, and they have to decide his fate with regards to is he going to stay with a team that is not going to be built around him. This is one of the first teams that obviously, not going to cater to him with regards to what he needs. This is Luka's team. And when you say this is Luka's team, obviously the brain trust, if in fact, and I think they will, based on all the great reports that I've heard recently about Luka and how he's already changed and transformed his body from a standpoint of eating right. And of course, starting to put the right things in his body and training. I saw a picture of him that obviously looked like it's Luka 5-6 years ago. But it's his bottom line. It's his team. Now, LeBron has just got to figure out again. He and his agents got to figure out where he wants to, how he wants to do this. His son is still a part of that organization. Is that still a factor? Is it him playing with Bronny? Is it playing with being around long enough to play with his younger son, who is, of course, having the opportunity to come out of high school, go to college now? I don't know what that situation is, Thrift, but if you were again in the chair that made the decisions on the Los Angeles Lakers, how would you? And again, he's one of the greatest in the history of the game. He's one of the greatest in Laker history. How do you handle a guy that actually is going into what year, 23, 24?
Yeah. So he takes this and opts into the money. Many people think, how do you opt into the money? And then now rumor has it he wants to be traded, and he doesn't know if he wants to stay in the Lakers, knowing they're rebuilding for the future and they're not building around him like you made mention. Well, that's because no one has the cap to pay him $52 million. No contender does. So the only way he's going to get paid and go play for a contender is if he opts into this $52 million and then the Lakers trade him. So he opted in his last year with the Lakers, and now he may be demanding a trade. Who wants him? Well, apparently the Dallas Mavericks are interested in making that trade, which would be mind-boggling if that happens. Golden State Warriors want to get in the LeBron business. There's quite a few teams that would want to get LeBron for maybe a 1 or 2 year rental. But you're probably also going to have to take on Bronny and the circus with him. I'm interested in seeing what's going to happen with LeBron James, to be honest with you, DJ. I think he's not going to play for the Lakers next year. I think that right, because you made mention them building around Luka. I think that's written on the wall saying he wants to move on and he wants to win a championship. And he knows right now the Lakers have no chance in this Eastern Conference of winning a championship, Western Conference.
In this basketball business, Richard, you have to understand. I mean, obviously, if LeBron comes and everything that comes with him, it's going to be box office. It's going to be immediate, success with regards to the cash registers and the ticket sales and all the things that come with it, bringing people to the arena. So again, for however long it lasts, I think that somebody's going to get the benefit, of that particular, what would we call it? I don't know whether it was a cash in. It's a word that I can't think of right now, but having LeBron for the next couple of years, I think it might be more advantageous for some teams or a team to take advantage of that who has normally hadn't done a whole lot at the box office and certainly need that influx of popularity, influx of cash when you talk about the business of basketball.
Yeah, it truly is a business. When LeBron went to the Lakers in 2018, he didn't go there just to win a championship. He went there because it's LA, it's Hollywood. He's an executive producer in several shows. He's got some big time projects, with Clutch Sports, made the movie Space Jam. So he's there for Hollywood. Yes, it was great that they won the championship in 2020. For LeBron's legacy, maybe try to get championship number 5 to tie Kobe. But I think that LeBron, if you are a team that wants to get LeBron, you got to know what you're getting into. He's about to turn 41 in December, still playing at a high level. But now that this is Luka's team, I could see a scenario where he goes to a Dallas, maybe takes a step back and goes to a scenario like, I don't want to say another team because, Can
I say a team that people are throwing out there right now?
I'm waiting
just
for
to agitate people and aggregators out there that if they want to clip this and say Thrift's an idiot, Cleveland. And Cleveland gets rid of Darius Garland. He comes back home, and they have Evan Mobley, Jared Allen, LeBron, and Donovan Mitchell in a wide-open Eastern Conference. If you're LeBron, though, I don't know if you want to stay in the Western Conferences. Again, look at OKC. They're not going to get worse. They're young. They're 2 of their 3 best players. They're not even 22 years old. That is why not go? If you look, this is why the Bucks are not trading Giannis, because who right now is the favorite? Boston doesn't have Tatum. They just got rid of Porzingis and Drew Holiday. They're saying next year we'd be happy just to get into the playoffs. You got Indiana, no Halliburton. What are they looking like? Cleveland, yeah, they won 64 games, but they got bounced by the Knicks. The Knicks don't have a coach. Then you got Philadelphia with Embiid and Paul George. What are they doing? The Hawks are now a contender. Honestly, the Magic look like the favorite when they just got Desmond Bane. If you're LeBron James in the last couple of years of your career, you want to go and get beat up in the Western Conference and maybe not get out the first round, or go in a wide open Eastern Conference that you dominated for years to give you a chance to maybe win a championship?
Yeah, I didn't even think about Cleveland, but how about Miami? I mean, he's been there before.
But he hates Pat Riley. I don't know if.
I know. I think that that 2014 team that was tough, and I thought that when he promised 8 championships and they only delivered on 2. That was just a tough pill to swallow. But I like the move to Cleveland because they already got a team in place. Man, imagine him with Donovan Mitchell. I mean, not since he had Kyrie that he had a superstar in Cleveland. Because remember, I'm talking of just Cleveland. Remember that run in 2007 when he took the team that with Ildrigas and Ilgauskas and Daniel Gibson. He took them to the finals and they got swept by the Spurs. And you team him up with another superstar in the right situation because the East is wide open. He could possibly go to the finals once again.
Well, one thing about it is, guys, wherever he goes, I think that, again, he's going to be a box office move. It's a business move. And I don't know if it's going to be so much for LeBron, although he gets to sign off on wherever it is he's going to go. But, how many more years can he play?
Yeah, I'm thinking he's got at least 2 or 3 more years of being a contributor.
Yes.
But again, this situation is not being talked about enough. The Lakers are saying, we're in Luka mode. We're not building around you, LeBron. And they're thinking, because LeBron's like, we need a center. Lakers are like, well, we're not giving up more picks to go get a center for you for 2 years. It's probably not going to change the fact that we're going to win a championship. We need to keep our first rounders. Let us bring in some young talent with Luka, who's only 26, and let us build around him. Your days are over with. And obviously, again, people thought, well, he opted in. He's playing with the Lakers next year. No, that is because he's not going to get $50 million at a contender. He need to opt in to keep that money, and then he's going to ask for a trade.
All right, let's go ahead and take a break. You are watching Facebook Live, and you're listening to WLTC HD2 SportsVisions 921. We are your hometown sports guys.
Stay tuned. More local and national sports coverage next on the SportsVisions Morning Show. SportsVisions 92.1.
Man, I loved playing high school sports growing up. And it's fun being a fan now, don't get me wrong, but sitting in the stands feels like I'm missing out on all the action, I wanted to get back in the game. So I signed up to be a high school official. It takes me back to my playing days. I'm supporting students, and I get paid to make the big calls. Do you want to see the game up close? Sign up to become an official in Alabama at highschoolofficials.com.
Hi, it's Steve Mann. Have you heard the commercials for the Mark Patrick Stop Smoking seminars? And they said only $49.99 and it could work for you. So I thought, that's not even a week's worth of smoking. So I went. And guess what? It did work for me. My friends and family are still amazed. I quit smoking. I didn't have cravings, anxiety, or weight gain. Listen, I don't know how it works, but I know it works because I'm living proof, and it's 100% guaranteed. So what do you got to lose? I'll tell you what you got to lose. A very bad habit.
Join Mark Patrick's seminars and stop smoking now. Without cravings, irritability, weight gain, or your money back. Early bird special only $49.99 guaranteed. Hypnosis designed to work without anxiety, irritability, or weight gain. Early bird special only $49.99. Become a non-smoker. That's right. Seminar Wednesday, July 23rd at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites at Northlake in Columbus. Stop smoking seminars at 8 p.m. Weight loss seminars at 5:30 p.m. Sign up at markpatrickseminars.com.
The YMCA is just a starting line. For the true self blooms only when we find our purpose, what makes us tick below the surface. Y is the before work hustle and after school home. A section of my block, the corner to call my own. With my Y, I stand strong, seen and supported all along. It's a million faces in a mirror and everyone belongs. Find your Y. Join today at ymca.org for a better us.
How was your drive to school?
Let me tell you, I had to get my iced coffee first. I just can't seem to put it down. My favorite rapper just announced a tour. My phone was buzzing like crazy. I'm so excited. I had to text all my friends right then to talk about it. Then someone started calling me and...
Let's try that again.
I turned my phone off right away. I never drive distracted.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Attorney 770, good law car accident lawyers. Paid after dramatization. Top dog does not mean we are the best. No guarantees of success.
The other day, I seen this dog attack this guy. It was so bad, the dog kept biting him. People was trying to get the dog off the person, but the dog wouldn't let go. Then out of nowhere, this guy comes up and yells, "Top dog!" Dog stopped. He walked away. It was crazy. Know what people were saying? That's the dog. That's Top Dog. Know what I was saying? I was asking, why was he biting him like that? What happened? Then I got the backstory. He just hit somebody down the street, got out his car and started running. Out of nowhere, this dog came running after him, caught him, and started biting him. And it was Top Dog. Couldn't believe it. He was fast. I couldn't believe it. He was big. I couldn't believe it. Any accident, you gotta believe it. Top Dog, long
You're listening to the Sports Visions Morning Show, brought to you by Global Diagnostic Services and the Finley Firm. Now back to DJ and Thrift on Sports Visions 92.1.
Welcome back to the Sports Visions Morning Show. DJ Jones, Thrift Barringer, and Richard Holdridge. Good Monday morning, everybody. We're glad that you are able to start your week out, and hopefully we'll have an opportunity to be a part of that as you continue to listen throughout the day and throughout the week. Guys, it's unbelievable. This is the last day of June, Thrift, and I know when you talk about everything that goes on from this point on, July, once we get beyond the July 4th weekend that's coming up, you know what? It's going to be all downhill, and it's going to be all downhill with concerning football at every level, whether it's high school football, college football, professional football. It's getting serious.
It is getting very serious, DJ. We are right at a month and 2 weeks away from the first game in high school football, and it's just been where's summer, because it seems like this happens all the time. We get through June, we do those 7-on-7, we did those summer league basketball games. Now we'll hit the low part for, as you made mention, this is dead week for a lot of schools. So a lot of the ADs, players, coaches, you're not allowed to do anything this week. So this is usually when a lot of the teams go out of town, and it's for Alabama and in Georgia. So there's literally nothing going on really locally. We got Columbus United and the Clingstones come home this weekend. So we do got that. It's July 4th, but you're right. Right now it is the calm before the storm.
Speaking of the calm before the storm, obviously the Columbus Clingstones lost last night, 4-1 to Biloxi. David McCabe had a home run in the ninth to stop the third straight shutout. So I know that the Clingstones are having a time here, but they're going on the road and hopefully to get refreshed. They're going to Montgomery, and they got the day off today, but they'll be in Montgomery to play the Biscuits on Tuesday, Richard.
Yeah, just like in the opening week, they're going to play in Montgomery for a 3-game series. And rather than the 6-game series, they'll play the Biscuits. Montgomery's only an hour and a half away. They get to travel to Montgomery for 3 games, and then they'll be back at Synovus Park for a 3-game series, like the traditional 3-game series as we see in Major League Baseball. But if you're here 4th of July weekend, I mean, we're going to have just a great showcase. July 4th, they're going to have fireworks, enjoying the weekend, and have a couple games on Saturday and Sunday, and taking on their natural rival. The Biscuits we knew before the season started the Montgomery Biscuits was going to be their natural rivalry because of the close proximity from Montgomery.
The great thing about what's going on right now in, of course, the Southern League and that's minor league baseball is that, of course, we're starting the second half of the season. If whatever that went on in the first half, Thrift, that doesn't matter. And again, the bottom line is all eyes on the second half, and the record in the second half is what matters.
Yeah, it's exactly right. But the best team in the first half was Biloxi, and they're looking like here to start the second half too. And if you're the Clingstones, I mean, and I get it with minor league, it's just really hard. You feel like you're getting your best players plucked, but they've had many roster moves. It just feels like this season there's not been a consistent week, 2 weeks in which the Clingstones are playing their best baseball. We have not seen that yet, and I hope it comes here in the second half. But right now, it's been a struggle, and it's been a struggle to get multiple wins. It's just been a struggle in general for these Clingstones.
Absolutely, but again, each day of every series of every game, Cody Gabella is the manager, and he is the responsible ultimately for the performance and the development of these young men. And I know that wins and losses on the scoreboard matter, but obviously getting the reps in, getting the swings in, getting the time in so that these guys can develop is most important. And I know that we got a guy coming up at the top of the hour. He's going to be a guy that can give us more information than we can ever ask for with regards to minor league baseball and development. He's a former pitcher for over 15 years in minor league baseball. And again, his name is Judge Robin Fuson. He'll be with us, and we'll get an opportunity to go behind the scene, go behind the stage, go backstage, go behind the curtains, and really talk about the life of a minor league player. I know that it's been quite some time, but still, though, the wish and the dream is to, of course, get to the major leagues, and of course, being able to adjust and adapt to a minor league lifestyle, and again, being in a system where you're keeping your mind obviously on your business and continue to work for your goal.
Yeah, and I think that's a great point. And being able to pivot sometimes, and when it's time to move on, I think it's just a great conversation. I'm with you, DJ. So I can't wait to talk to Judge Fuson. But Columbus is 28-44 right now, and the second half standings just came out, and I'm just in this division. They're been specifically Montgomery and Biloxi. They have both those teams have the two best records in all of the Southern League, and they're in the same division as the Clingstones. It's tough, and it's going to continue to be tough for them. And then as it gets hotter and hotter as July comes, and now August, we just hope that those Clingstones can pull off some wins.
Richard, your thoughts on the Clingstones up to this point?
Well, so far, the level of play on the field, I mean, we want to see more out of them, but they do have some stars like Ethan Workinger and David McCabe and Ian Mejia. They have done a great job as far as developing their talent in the Braves organization. Yeah, it hasn't been translated to wins because the Southern League has got some pretty tough teams, but the fans are still showing up and showing out. They're drawing close to 3,000, 4,000 fans, even on a Tuesday night. And they have broken an attendance record. I've got to believe and go back to the archives, but yeah, this is really an opportunity for the community of Columbus to embrace minor league baseball. And it's been a huge success because they've really made going to a Clingstones game an event at Synovus Park, because there's plenty of stuff to do for the kids. And I know that especially with 4th of July weekend, we should see probably the biggest crowds of the season since opening night, just because it is 4th of July. A lot of people that go to minor league games, they want to see fireworks after the show. And it's an opportunity to see fireworks on the 4th of July. So you're going to see a lot of people that wouldn't go to a game end up showing up this weekend for 4th of July weekend.
Here's a question for you, Thrift, with regards to the Clingstones, and of course being a startup here and first time in the city, and of course the resurgence of the old historic Golden Park, which is now Synovus Park. Is it more of a pleasure, or is it more of a satisfaction to see? And again, let's talk 5 years down the road. I know that in the initial first few years, it might not take that long, but in 2-3 years or so, is it more of a satisfaction to see the production coming from the big league club, the Braves, as we've watched these kids develop, or is it that the Clingstones need to be winning? I mean, because again, minor league baseball is tricky. I mean, and when, we want, and the competitive part as a community, we want to win, but the ultimate goal is for these guys to get to the next level. And what if you look up 2 or 3 years from now and you got 3 or 4 guys that made an impact that you got to see play here in Columbus versus wins and losses here?
Here's the thing that I've been thinking about. It's not the fact that people are going to want to see them regardless, DJ. It's the consistency of seeing them when they play a 6-game homestand in the middle of June and July when it's 150 degrees. You're trying to get a new crowd, but you're going to get those mainstays, those people that buy the season tickets. Who's going to want to come and sit at a game when it's constantly losing every single night? That gets redundant almost. Yeah, you get to see the star player, but you want to see that star player every night lose every game. So I do think for them to continue the rate they're at right now, which is going to be blown through the water in terms of attendance, for that to be consistent year in and year out, I think winning has to be involved in it eventually, because fan is short for fanatic. And no matter what, when you got a bunch of fans that are coming to something and investing, they want to see wins. And when they don't see that, they're not going to be able to compartmentalize like, oh, we're still seeing it's only minor league, it's the teams of the future. No, they want to cheer on the Columbus Clingstones like they are the Atlanta Braves. This is our team locally. And when your team's not winning, kind of takes the fun out of it a little bit, DJ. So I do think winning has something to do with it. Yes, I think seeing the future stars of tomorrow is a big deal, but I think both of them, and if you don't win, it can take a toll on that. Well, we want to see those future stars when they're constantly losing.
Well, of course, the Clingstones are off today, and of course, they have an opportunity to get back to their winning ways in Montgomery against the Biscuits. And Richard, before we go to the break, obviously, the Biscuits early on in the season, I think I don't even remember how they did when they in the opening series.
Yeah, they did not win a game. They did only play 2 games. It was a 3-game series, and one of the games got rained out. But the Biscuits came back to Synovus Park, and they did get some wins there. But I think that the Montgomery Biscuits, they have their fans, and their fans travel as well. We're going to see just a great crowd at Riverwalk Stadium. We expect the Clingstones fans to make that trip to Montgomery to support the Stones. And then the Biscuits fans are going to be making the trip to Synovus Park. So that's why I think that Synovus Park is going to be at full capacity this weekend.
All right, don't go anywhere. Come close, come close. Text a friend, of course, page a friend, and ask a friend to come on, because on the other side, we're going to have Judge Robin Fuson, the former minor league player who obviously had an interesting story and decided that instead of chasing his major league dreams after playing a significant amount of time, he went into the law profession. Our good friend, and he's also going to be able to enlighten us on Miss Candy Lowe's Tea and Conversation and the impact that it's made in Hillsborough County. All of that and more coming up next on the SportsVisions Morning Show. You're watching Facebook Live and you're listening to WLTC HD2, SportsVisions 921. This is the SportsVisions Morning Show.
You deserve it, baby. You deserve it all. And I'm gonna give it to you.
Hey, it's Dan Patrick. Thanks for making us your home for local, regional, national sports talk in the Chattahoochee Valley. This is SportsVisions 92.1.
Hi, Zoe Saldana. Welcome to T-Mobile. Here's your new iPhone 16 Pro on us.
Thanks. And here's my old phone to trade in.
You don't need a trade-in. When you switch to T-Mobile, we'll give you a new iPhone 16 Pro. Plus, we'll help you pay off your old phone up to $800, and you still get to keep it.
There's always a trade-in.
Not right now at T-Mobile.
I feel like I have to give you something in return for karma.
That's okay.
I don't really have much in my purse. Oh, let's see. Hand sanitizer. It's lavender.
I'm good. Seriously.
Let me check this pocket. Oh, mints?
Really, I'm fine.
Oh, I have raisins. I'm a mom. Wait 1 sec. I've got cupcakes in the car.
It's our best iPhone offer ever. Switch to T-Mobile. Get a new iPhone 16 Pro with Apple Intelligence on us. No trade-in needed. We'll even pay off your phone up to $800.
With 24 monthly bill credits, new line, $100 plus a month on experience beyond finance agreement, $999.99 and qualifying for-day. For well-qualified plus tax and $10 connection charge. Pay off via virtual prepaid card. Allow 15 days. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. See T-Mobile.com.
I love playing sports, especially for my school. And that's because school sports are special. It's where it's safe to fail. It's where we're taught resilience, where our fear becomes confidence. It's where we learn to get back up after every fall. School sports are where 7.8 million students go from I can't to I can.
This message presented by the GHSA and the Georgia Athletic Directors Association.
Everything is expensive right now. Gas, food, you name it. You're spending more, you are making the same or less money. So what do? You rack up credit card debt. That's what you do. It's not your fault. It's the economy. And guess what? If you rack up too much credit card debt like some of us, you can't pay your bills. Then the credit card companies, as nice as they are, start hounding you for money. Then you start your downward spiral. A smart thing for you to do is to call the Zero Debt. They can help you consolidate all your credit card bills into one affordable payment. Millions of people have done it. It works to make you debt-free. Make this free call right now. It costs you nothing to learn more.
800-628-5675. 800-628-5675. 800-628-5675. That's 800-628-5675.
This message is brought to you by the Armed Forces Vacation Club, a free membership travel hub for active duty military and veterans. Discover the world for free at afvclub.com. That's afvclub.com.
The YMCA is just a starting line, for the true self blooms only when we find our purpose, what makes us tick below the surface. Why is the before work hustle and after school home a section of my block, the corner to call my own? With my why, I stand strong, seen and supported all along. It's a million faces in a mirror, and everyone belongs. Find your why. Join today at ymca.org for a better us.
Lori's Furniture Express, your express way to save.
If you're looking for furniture, you need to shop Gorey's Furniture Express. It's the largest furniture store around with over 106,000 square feet of in-stock merchandise with new shipments arriving weekly. Locally owned and operated with everything you need from rugs to recliners to sofas and more. And that's only at Gorey's Furniture, Alabama Highway 169 in Opelika.
Career changers, including veterans and active duty service members.
Your transition starts here. Go from GI to IT in a matter of months. Become a certified cyber warrior with training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, offering IT pros great opportunities and a rewarding lifestyle while protecting our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. Deploy your career in IT today. Learn more at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. SkillBridge and other VA benefits are available to those who qualify.
WLTC HD2 Casita and W221DP Columbus. You're listening to the Sports Visions Morning Show. Sports Visions 92.1. You're waking up with a Sports Visions Morning Show on Sports Visions 92.1. Now back to former Green Bay Packer DJ Jones and Thrift Barringer.
Welcome back to the Sports Visions Morning Show. DJ Jones, Thrift Barringer, and Richard Holdridge. Good Monday morning, everybody. How you doing out there? Just so proud to have the opportunity to start your day. We are here to inform, educate, and entertain you on the goings-on in the world of sports. We just got through talking about our minor league baseball team that obviously is having its ups and downs, the Columbus Clingstones, and they're going to be on the road tomorrow down in Montgomery taking on the Biscuits. But pleased to have with us, of course, our guest. He's, of course, friends to myself and my wife, Candy Lo Jones, and he again was a very, very integral part of Tea and Conversation, which was a 20th anniversary celebration on Saturday morning. So good to see Robin Fuson. Judge, welcome to the Sports Visions Morning Show. How are you?
Good. Good morning, guys. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Wonderful. I'm going to continue this introduction because obviously some of us, or some of our Facebook, or at least our Sports Visions Nation, had the pleasure of having an opportunity to meet you several months ago when we first launched. But, you know, the story is so intriguing, and the fact that I would love to have an opportunity for you to kind of give a little background information before we get into the heavy lifting of Tea and Conversation. They've been hearing us talk about it here. Candy's been on, but you have been, of course, impacted, and you have made an impact with regards to that event. And, you know, being a sitting judge right now in Hillsborough County, can you expound to the folks that are listening out there, paint the picture, if you will, of the impact of 20 years of what Tea and Conversation meant to that community?
Well, when you're running for office, you try to meet as many people as you can. And as a judge, we can't go around promising things because we can't talk about any hot topic issues, things like that. But it's important to get into the communities, especially some of the black and brown communities where people might have more issues and more concerns about what government's doing, what the courts are doing, and just to listen to what they have to say, see what their concerns are, talk when you can, and listen at all times so that you have a better understanding of what their perceptions and realities are about the system and things that you can do in your everyday course in my position as a judge by making sure that when people come in, they feel like the system works for everybody and not just for a select few.
I have to ask, man, and just if anybody in your position of power and stuff, you want to have friends and relationships, but then you also know that can't turn into favors. You have to treat them the same as you treat everyone else. And I feel like that is such a tough ask because we're all human. We all love, want to have relationships with people. How do you walk that fine line, and how do people be able to differentiate? Because I don't know if I could be able to do it.
Well, doing what's right is not always the easy thing to do,
right,
but it's the right thing to do. So you make decisions that are lawful, and when necessary, you can show mercy. There are certain situations where I have discretion to modify a sentence if I believe that it's justified. It doesn't always work that way. I mean, honestly, there are a lot of bad people out there.
Yeah.
And 30 years in this system as a prosecutor, as a defense attorney, now as a judge, I have a pretty good understanding, I think, of being able to read the situation and know when somebody is bad and know when somebody is mistaken, and being able to work within the parameters that the law allows. I can give folks breaks when they need it, but I can also lock you up for the rest of your life if you're a danger to people around you. And there's a lot of those around. So
yeah.
We see a lot of former athletes that go on to do great things in the community. You talk about like playing team sports as a youngster, and how does that translate to when you have a profession and you're in a place where it's not sports related, but you're able to work together as a team. Like, how do those coincide when you move on, when your playing days are over?
Well, one of the things that I picked up from playing ball and now being on this side of things is that when you're in a dugout or any locker room, any clubhouse, you're with a very diverse group of people. You got folks from all kinds of different socioeconomic backgrounds. You're playing with, white guys, African American guys, Latin guys, Asian guys, and you all have different, views on where things start and where they go. And you talk about them. You live with those folks. You eat with them. You go out with them. You play with them. You pull together. You have a common goal as a team to win, and that kind of brings you together. And you learn different things from different cultures, and it gives you a good understanding when you step outside of the locker room and take the uniform off, what people are about, and you put aside your differences and try to find that common ground.
Judge Robin Fuson is our guest on the Sports Visions radio show, the Sports Visions morning show this morning as well. You, when you talk about this transition, I have you on here for, again, a couple of different reasons, but more importantly, your story in particular, chasing your dreams and wanting to be a professional baseball pitcher in the major leagues. And again, what you went through. And I want you got to explain that, because I'm sure that there's somebody out there that didn't hear you the first time around. And when you talk about, pursuing your dreams, your boyhood dreams, and then of course, realizing that, it's time for me to do something else.
At every point in everybody's career, somebody's going to tell you that you can't play anymore. Hopefully it's at a time of your choosing, but not always. And I was fortunate enough to give it quite a run. When I started playing ball as a kid, I was a little guy. I didn't make an all-star team until I was 17 years old. But I watched the guys play in the big leagues, and I loved the game, and I learned how to play the game, so that when I grew quite a bit between my junior and senior year in high school, my physical abilities kind of caught up to my baseball IQ. And that's when I started to excel. So I got drafted out of a junior college. I went right into an A-ball club. I spent the next 10 years playing in the minor leagues, mostly AAA. I'd go to big league spring training. I'd pitch. I'd do well. I mean, with the Red Sox in '85, I didn't even give up a run in spring training. And they pitched me at the end of the spring against the Yankees to see how I would hold up. And I didn't give up a run then either. I didn't even give up a hit. Limited appearances. I wasn't going 6-7 innings. Nobody does in spring training. But I never got that call at the end of the season or during the season to go up. And it's a hard pill to swallow, but it's what I love doing. But at some point, I had to make a decision, and I had opportunities to play AAA ball some more. And I just figured it was time to go back home after 10 years and go to school. And I got a call at the end of that 10 years from Oakland asking me if I wanted to coach with them, work with their big league players doing the major league pitching rehab, work with their Latin players because I speak Spanish, and some of their young college draft choices. So I made a deal with them that I would do that as long as they didn't interfere with me going to school in the off season by trying to send me off to winter ball to look at kids. Or when the earthquake hit in '89, I was with Oakland, and everybody rallied up in Scottsdale, Arizona to keep the guys ready to go. But and even though they wanted me to be there, Oakland never put any pressure on me, and they honored that agreement. So I got to stay in school, which eventually led to me going to law school. But you just, as long as if you live your life right and you do everything you can in your sport or your endeavor, just don't close any doors. Don't get here's the story I like to give. There was a guy named Willie Mays Aikens that played for Kansas City back in the 80s. He was a good ball player, but he got involved with cocaine, and he got run out of baseball for a while, and he ended up playing in the Mexican League, which is where all good players go to die at the end of their careers. I went to Mexico at the end. So when I played against Willie Mays Aikens, man, the guy was killing it. He was back. He was hitting home runs. He was hitting for average. And he got an opportunity to go to Japan to play baseball and make a lot of money again. But Japan wouldn't let him in the country because he had a drug conviction. So that opportunity got thrown away. So I always tell kids, the choices you make now are going to impact you later on down the road. And if you do something stupid that you don't think is going to have a lasting impact, you never know. You can't even go into Canada if you have a DUI conviction.
Yeah.
So you have to be careful about what you do to make sure that every opportunity is always available to you. And it may not be the best choice at the time. You know, I didn't want to go to law school. I wanted to continue to play baseball, but I wasn't going to be able to do that forever. And if I didn't make the decision when I did, I might have lost the opportunity, which led to the second best job I ever had, and that's being a judge. And I don't say that lightly. I mean, it's hard to say that baseball is not the best job I ever had. So people understand that. And being a judge has exceeded my expectations. And so I have no complaints.
Yeah.
I did what I could, and this is where I am.
Yeah, no doubt. And, you know, Judge, I'm wondering, too, when you said you were also a defense attorney and a prosecutor, understanding everything that goes into a court, how important was that to be a judge? Do you have to do both of those things to be able to be a successful judge or even get nominated to be a judge? What's your thought process on getting to where you were at today?
You don't have to. I mean, you can run for office as long as you've been an attorney for 5 years, no matter what your background is. But being, you start out as a prosecutor, and I think that for the most part, you go in there, you got blinders on, and you think the world's black and white. There's right and there's wrong. But man, there's a ton of gray in between that you don't even know about. And if you're smart as a prosecutor, you figure that out soon because you got a lot of power. And what did they say in Spider-Man? With great power comes great responsibility. So if you can't use common sense and, a fair shake of people, you can ruin lives. So you have to be cautious of that. But being on the defense side really gives you the opportunity to, work through that in a more refined way. You get to see people who are jammed up for being stupid. You get people who are jammed up for just being in the wrong place at the wrong time. And you also run across people who are going to deserve everything they get because they're just not good people. And you make these calls how you want to handle the case, whether you want to handle the case or not. And being in private practice, if I didn't want to handle a case, I didn't. So when you take the bench, you've seen both sides.
Right.
And you understand that there's a lot of gray. And when you have discretion, if the law allows it, you can use that discretion. So many times people make mistakes that could end up ruining their lives forever. But if they're not a bad person and they just do something dumb, you have an opportunity to make sure that their lives aren't ruined or made extremely hard. So that's always a good feeling. But being on both sides of the fence really gives you a better balance. And I think it's, I would recommend if you have a chance to do that before you run, do that. Get your resume, filled out in all areas so that you go in there with your eyes wide open.
Judge Fuson, we see that your aspect when it comes to being a judge and being a prosecutor, you see people that come from all walks of life. You see possibly even former athletes, and we see these athletes at the professional level with their legal troubles. Talk about that, having to have that due process. Do you think it's premature for these commissioners to suspend these athletes if they don't actually have any foundings, because if they're cleared from all charges, they're still serving these suspensions. Do you think that's fair, or do you want the legal system to play out before these athletes get cleared so they could go back to playing?
I would like to see the legal system lead that way. So if you're cleared, you're presumed innocent until proven guilty. And it's amazing to see someone get arrested and then everybody screams, the public forum judges them. They need to have their trial. Everybody deserves their due process. Now, when you get into sports, the major league, the owners and the front offices and the league executives, they're under a lot of pressure from various groups that I don't know. It's a hard call, but I think that if you're accused of something and you're exonerated from it, then that should be the end of it. You should get the opportunity. You should get the chance to go back and play the game. Some people make mistakes. Some people get falsely accused. I see people get falsely accused every day here at the courthouse, especially in domestic relations. There are different reasons why people will make an accusation against someone to get an upper hand. And you have to be able to look at the entire case, go behind the scenes a little bit, and see maybe what the motivation for what's going on is. You have to protect people, but you have to protect the rights of all the people. My responsibility is to protect the rights of the people who are accused, people who are the victims. The state attorney has rights, the defense bar and the public defender's office, they all have rights. So I have to balance that on a daily basis. In sports, I think there's more of a knee-jerk reaction for public opinion to be more, I mean, they want to make sure that the people and their fans, the fan base, think they're making the right decision rather than the individual. And I think that hurts players.
Judge Robin Fuson is our guest this morning on the Sports Visions Morning Show. Judge, we know we very rarely have an opportunity to talk to a former professional athlete and a judge, but in asking questions that deal with the law to relate it in particularly with maybe professional athletes that are always known to get favor. Now, again, we talk about the Ruggs guy who obviously played at Judge Judy. What's his kid's name at Alabama? Just got out of prison. Thrift.
Jalen Waddle.
No.
Henry Ruggs.
Henry Ruggs.
Yeah,
Henry
Waddle.
Ruggs.
I don't know why I got Waddle from. That's another Alabama receiver.
But when you talk about this young man who obviously had this tragic, terrible accident, and of course did his time, he's out. A lot of people, and again, I want to make sure that I'm giving you this correctly from a standpoint of a legal standpoint. He supposedly served his time and done what he had to do as far as his punishment. But should he get the opportunity, or will he get the opportunity to play in the National Football League again? Your opinion, and of course, maybe you can give us a little bit more insight on, when you have done supposedly your responsibilities as it pertains to doing time or whatever it was that you have to do as far as your punishment.
If you get sentenced and you complete your sentence and you're no longer under the jurisdiction of the courts, then I think you should have the opportunity to have that second chance. Now, in a private business, they can hire who they want to hire and things like that. And sometimes you could get a felony and not be a convicted felon in the state of Florida. If the court withholds adjudication, then technically you're not a convicted felon and you don't lose your constitutional rights. And that makes a big deal in somebody's future, whether or not they can vote, own a firearm, answer truthfully on an application. They don't have any felony convictions, things like that. And then if you're having adjudication, you're a felon, you lose your rights. You have to be truthful on your applications, and it makes it harder to get a job. But, the owners of private businesses, they have a right to hire who they want to hire within the constitutional, as long as it's not, race, gender, orientation, things like that. You can't discriminate against people, obviously. But someone who has a prior conviction trying to get into sports, that's, the league needs to have a clear policy about that so that at least what they do is consistent. If you had a superstar and I won't pick any names, but let's say you just had somebody that could play defense, could pitch, could hit home runs, steal bases, and everybody in the country loved him. But if they got in trouble, baseball would probably look at the fact and say, well, if he gets out of trouble or if he does his time, it'll be good for us to bring him back because people want to see him play. But then if you have a guy who's just on the bubble, who's batting .230 and doesn't do much, if he gets in trouble, the league's not going to care as much about him, and he may not get the opportunity that somebody else would. And when you start treating people differently based on their ability to put people in the seats, yeah, maybe it's good for baseball, but is it good for society? So I don't know. I look beyond the small picture and think big, be consistent.
If you look at college athletics, you're seeing a lot of cases going against the NCAA, a lot of judges going against the NCAA in rulings. What do you think that is? And in my opinion, Judge, I just wonder if this was the case all along and judges knew that what the NCAA was doing was wrong, why wasn't this done many years ago? Because it seems like every ruling is going against the NCAA saying you're wrong on that. Well, then they were wrong 30 years ago when this went down. We're talking about NIL, and there's many different cases. I don't want to be specific. I just want to talk about overall. It seems like everyone is going against the NCAA. Do you kind of have an opinion on that?
Yeah, there's two opinions on that. I mean, times changed, situations changed. Perceptions were different 30 years ago. And now I think younger players have more of a sense of entitlement. And it's true. When you go to school, when you play a college sport, I did that. You don't have time to do anything else. You don't have any time to work. You can't go out and make money. So here's the thing. If I went to college and I didn't play ball, I would have worked in a gas station or as a waiter somewhere, because what are you going to do when you got a college schedule to go around? And I'd have made nothing, but I would have had money, but it would have been a struggle. When I signed up, and even in the minor leagues now, the way that the guys are complaining that they can't make a living wage, they got 3 guys to an apartment. We did all that.
Right.
I kind of borrowed, for lack of a better word, lounge chairs from the apartment pool complex so that we'd have something to sit on. We slept on mattresses we bought from the Salvation Army. I had boxes to keep my clothes in. That's just the way it was. You had 3 or 4 guys in a 2 or 3 bedroom apartment. But now you give these kids an opportunity to make more money to go back for their last year than going into the NFL. It's just crazy. And the schools are losing control. Colleges are going to become professional sports soon.
Right.
And maybe, the kids deserve the opportunity, but nobody's holding a gun to their head to play sports. Right. So, I mean, yeah, the judges can sit back because it doesn't affect them and say, yeah, these kids deserve all of this stuff. And maybe they do. The schools make a lot of money off of them and they should get something. But there has to become some kind of limit or the inmates are going to be running the asylum soon. And it may have been wrong 30 years ago.
Right.
But nobody really complained because, all I wanted to do was play baseball.
Right.
And I'd make that sacrifice. And I would do it again knowing what I know now.
Judge, to elaborate a little bit on just everything that's been going on with the changes in the NIL and the transfer portal, and it spills over into like the court system. How important is it to have guardrails on this? Because it's starting to become the wild, wild west when it comes to NIL, and you're starting to see that college is turning into already a big business, but it's starting to become a professional league. And if we don't have a guardrail on it, it's going to end up becoming that. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it has to have guardrails. You recruit a class of players, and mostly it's at the college football. I mean, they do it in other sports, but football is the money that drives the universities and it drives everything. So you got these kids that are signing these letters of intent and they're getting these offers from alumni to go do all of these things to make all of these millions of dollars, and they go to school. And then other kids go to the school because they got, Johnny U is the quarterback and they got this team and everybody has a chance to be a national champion. And then the guy gets a better deal to go somewhere else and play. So he just jumps ships, goes into the portal, goes to another school, gets more money. And then the other kids that are left there stranded, the coach is, he's done everything he can do to get those guys there. And now everybody wants to jump ship and look for greener pastures. And that's been allowed because of the NIL stuff. And the NLI, and once you start paying kids so much money rules everything.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And unless they come up with some type of compromise that's standard, where kids can get what they deserve, but are committed to the program. So you get your money to go to Alabama, then I say it's a contract. You're there till it's over. And if you go somewhere else, you don't get any money. Maybe something like that. Barring some extraordinary circumstances. There's always always have some kind of review, but you need to protect the institutions. And I know that sounds bad because they've been raking in billions of dollars, but at some point you've opened up this floodgate, and at some point it's just going to overwhelm the sport. I mean, look at the conferences now. How many teams are in the Big Ten and the SEC? It just doesn't even matter anymore. I can't even keep track.
Well, Judge, I tell you, man, it's been really incredible for you to come on, and we've taken you in a lot of different directions, and we've asked a lot of different questions. But the last thing I'd like for you to do is to, of course, explain once again, because we celebrated Tea and Conversation 20 years anniversary down at Al's Finger Licking Soul Food down in Tampa. And for the folks that started in the beginning to the folks that obviously showed up yesterday, can you just, if you would, explain or at least what Candy Lowe meant to, and what does Tea and Conversation means to that community?
Candy's got two avenues of attack. She has the Tea and Conversation, and then she has the Black Business Bus Tour. And what happened years ago, and this is just talking from folks in the Black community, when they desegregated everything, which had a very good purpose. A lot of the Black businesses and the Black-run stores and the schools that were all Black, they got kind of put on the back burner, and they got caught up in politics, and the Black entrepreneur lost his footing in the community. So what Candy has done is she's put together a tour that runs about, I think, every quarter, where folks come up, they sign up, they get on these buses, and they go around the city to find entrepreneurs for Black-owned businesses, and they show support by shopping there and buying things there and things like that. But it also gives people the opportunity to know that these little businesses are out there and that they deserve our support. You know, big box stores are nice and they're convenient, but it's nice to go to your neighborhood stores. And then you have the Tea and Conversation. For 20 years, Candy has been bringing people, and it's a nonpartisan thing, because as a judge, I'm as nonpartisan as they can be. But she brings people in the community, politicians, community leaders, athletes, and she gives people an opportunity to speak about what they do and how they do it. And it gives people a voice, because her voice, Candy's voice, is so well known in the community that through her, people can be heard. And it's been an amazing thing. When I ran for office, of course, I went there to talk to those folks, and they were kind to me and they supported me. And I told them that I would never forget them. And I got elected in 2018, and I go to Tea and Conversation the second and fourth Saturday of every month religiously, because I learn things when I go there. I enjoy the people. I meet new people every time I go there. And I think when people go into court and they see someone that they see out in the community, they may not be as afraid of the system. But what she's done is amazing, because it's in East Tampa, which is basically an African-American community. But when you walk in there, you're going to see white folks, Black folks, Latin folks. I mean, it's an amazing forum for people to go down and talk about the issues that they feel and see on an everyday basis. And they get answers. They get answers from people that have been down that road maybe before them. Because if you don't learn from the elders, you're never going to learn, because that's where all the knowledge is.
Well, Judge, you certainly have said that, again, I appreciate you and all that you do in Hillsborough County. I appreciate all you do with Tea and Conversation and the Black Business Bus Tour. On behalf of Candy and myself, we thank you so much. But more importantly, as far as the SportsVisions Nation, getting all the knowledge and, of course, getting it from a guy that's so experienced both on the field and off the field, man, it means a lot to have you on. And I'm very fortunate to know that I have a guy like you, a go-to guy, if you will, that has been there, done it, got the T-shirt on and off the field. And we certainly appreciate and value what you have to say.
Well, I appreciate you all giving me the opportunity to come and chat with the folks.
All right, man. Well, you have a great rest of your morning.
Thanks, Judge.
Thanks, Judge.
Absolutely. You guys have a good one. Thank you.
All right, buddy. Take care. That's Judge Robin Fuson. Man, I tell you, you know what? 10 years plus in minor league baseball. And, of course, a judge, sitting judge in Hillsborough County, a guy that actually can, here's a guy that we can talk to that understands, that we know that he understands, so again, it's great to have that. for the Sports Vision Nation to sound off, to hear from, all of that going in condition. You can go ahead and play that music when you get going there.
Here we go, Rich.
We're going to go ahead and take a break. You're watching Facebook Live and you're listening to WLTC HD2 Sports Visions 921. This is the Sports Visions Morning Show.
You probably think that you are better now, better now. You only say that cause I'm not around, not around. You know I never meant to let you down.
Hey, it's Dan Patrick. Thanks for making us your home for local, regional, national sports talk in the Chattahoochee Valley. This is Sports Visions 92.1.
Good morning. I'm Rex Castillo. Here's a look at your morning headlines. If you live in the following areas of Phoenix City, 12th Avenue from 14th Place to 17th Street, along 14th Place, 15th Street, and 15th Place and 17th Street, you're advised to boil water for 3 minutes or use bottled water for the next 3 to 5 days. The boiling notice comes after the city found a severe water leak. And officials say in order to make repairs, water needs to be turned off. If not, there's a potential for fecal contamination or other disease-causing bacteria to enter the water distribution system. Meanwhile, Russell County Sheriff's deputies will be out on Highway 431 and other major roads in the county, beefing up patrols. The state of Alabama hands out millions of dollars a year to local law enforcement agencies to run speed enforcement. The Russell County Sheriff's Office gets about $50,000 of that. Now, that can spell trouble for those with a heavy foot and Florida in their sights. From WRBL News 3, I'm Rex Castillo. Have a great rest of your Monday.
Good Monday morning. We are off to a partly cloudy start, and those temperatures are more seasonal with readings in the low 70s, but expect a few localized areas of fog as we head towards daybreak. But it's going to be more of the same old summertime weather pattern across the area as we wrap up the month of June. Today's temperatures climb in the low 90s for highs with an isolated rain chance through the evening. We are tracking a better chance of showers and storms in the forecast for your Tuesday.
Georgia is turning up the heat to stop drunk driving. Drunk driving is not only against the law, it is also deadly. 1 out of every 4 deaths in Georgia is alcohol related. The only way to stop drunk driving is to pass the keys to a sober driver, such as a family member or friend, or call a cab or rideshare service. Planning ahead for a sober ride is a game plan that can save your life and the lives of others on the road. The Governor's Office of Highway Safety asks you to help stop drunk driving deaths in Georgia by always driving sober.
Lori's Furniture Express, your express way to save.
It's summertime, and that means it's time for cookouts and company relaxing outside. So that means it's time for you to pay a visit to Gory's luxurious outdoor patio. Shop their beautiful outdoor furniture that's made to last season after season. Sofas, love seats, and even outdoor recliners. And that's only at Gory's Furniture, Alabama Highway 169 in Opelika.
Minor League Baseball is back in Columbus. Catch Clingstone's baseball every night on Sports Visions 92.1. Your home for the Sports Visions Morning Show with DJ Jones and Thrift Barringer, the Dan Patrick Show, The Herd with Colin Cowherd, and the Paul Feinbaum Show.
Hi, it's Steve Mann. Have you heard the commercials for the Mark Patrick Stop Smoking seminars? And they said only $49.99 and it could work for you. So I thought, that's not even a week's worth of smoking. So I went. And guess what? It did work for me. You know, my friends and family are still amazed. I quit smoking. I didn't have cravings, anxiety, or weight gain. Listen, I don't know how it works, but I know it works because I'm living proof, and it's 100% guaranteed. So what do you got to lose? I'll tell you what you got to lose. A very bad habit.
Join Mark Patrick seminars and stop smoking now. Without cravings, irritability, weight gain, or your money back. Early bird special only $49.99 guaranteed. Hypnosis designed to work without anxiety, irritability, or weight gain. Early bird special only $49.99. Become a non-smoker. That's right. Seminar Wednesday, July 23rd at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites at Northlake in Columbus. Stop smoking seminars at 8 p.m. Weight loss seminars at 5:30 p.m. Sign up at markpatrickseminars.com.
DQ presents How to Make Your Summer Take Flight. Just head into DQ for our new Superman Cake Batter Cookie Dough Blizzard Treat. Treat your inner hero to an epic mix of sugar cookie dough, sprinkles, and cake batter flavor. Blend it all with legendary DQ soft serve, and it's enough to tempt Superman himself. Fly into DQ for our new Superman Cake Batter Cookie Dough Blizzard Treat before it's gone. And don't miss Superman, only in theaters July 11th. DQ, happy tastes good. Only at participating locations.
The only live and local sports morning show. It's the Sports Visions Morning Show with Chattahoochee Valley Sports Hall of Famer DJ Jones and Thrift Barringer on Sports Visions 92.1.
Good Monday morning and welcome back to the Sports Visions Morning Show. DJ Jones, Thrift Barringer, and Richard Holdridge. Big shout out to Judge Robin Fuson, who is, of course, a sitting judge in Hillsborough County and Tampa, Florida, down in Tampa Bay, where we just, of course, had a wonderful weekend, of course, celebrating Miss Candy Lowe Jones's Tea and Conversation, 20 years in the community. And again, I just wanted to bring, Robin on for more than just the fact that, he's a minor league baseball player. But the fact of the matter, there were a lot of messages in that little 20, 25 minutes that we had with him, from a standpoint of making his transition as a professional athlete, a guy that's chasing his dreams and deciding that, of course, hey, look, this is not going to happen. And coming to the realization and having his come to Jesus moment to say, hey, look, I got to think about something else. But also the fact of the matter, he's able to eloquently explain to everybody, as I try to and never can. But, and occasionally Miss Candy's on here, and I don't think people have an opportunity to really comprehend. Some do, but most don't. But I think Robin nailed it when he was able to give his description of what he thought, that the Black Business Bus Tour, as well as Tea and Conversation, meant to not only him, but to all of the, the citizens of Hillsborough County.
I think that's a great point, DJ. And we had a ton of topics and stuff. So it was great to have him on. And I'm glad he was able to speak highly of Aunt Candy and her impact on the Tampa Bay community.
Richard, what you think?
Well, you talk about the impact on the community, but you're talking about a guy that played minor league baseball, transitioned into law school, and, sports and, being in the legal system, they do coincide. Some of those topics were sports related, but I just think that him having the impact and knowing his community and the things that make the impact in the community, it was great conversation, and I enjoyed every minute of it.
Being the person that he is, obviously the influence that he has in the community, but what he says is that, being able to go and sit in that room at Tea and Conversation at Al's Finger Licking Soul Food, and people see that this judge in there, although he's not able to say a whole lot, publicly, but he's able to hear the cries from the community, from all walks of life. And he mentioned the Black and the brown people. But it's incredible because, again, to on top of that, the fact that he has been an accomplished baseball player, an athlete, he knows what it's like, to be without and to do with less. And again, just being able to compete on a high level and still be able to put it in perspective when he's making the decision on people's, future and whether they're going to go to jail or whether they're going to go get probation or whether they're going to get whatever it is that due to them.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, DJ. And I think I really am thankful to have someone like that kind of can break down the law. And this is why we call ourselves Gumbo, man, to be able to understand the nuances, and him saying that he had to be a defense attorney and prosecutor, which is both sides of the court system, to understand what it takes to be a high-level and successful judge.
Absolutely. And, of course, you know what? We're not just limited to, of course, Judge Robin Fuson out of Tampa. Obviously, we talk to people right here locally as well. And if there's an affiliation, again, if you want to hear from some of your local judges and some of your local people, by all means, make it known so that we can now call them out, or at least let them know if there's anybody in particular you want to hear from. And again, I try to keep it athletically related, but more importantly, it's about making our community better through, of course, sports. And sports galvanizes the community, unlike anything else I've ever been around, Thrift. But, again, having these people that are, whether they're politically connected or whether they're city officials or elected officials, that's important as well, especially if they can relate that in a perspective from athletics.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, DJ. And I get understanding what athletics meant to them to be successful at that point, and why it is important to be a part of a team. I cannot emphasize that enough. If you've never been a part of a team, I don't care if you watch every sport known to man, and I'm not talking Little League, I'm talking about in high school, being a part of a team, being a part of people that you may not like, but having to put that aside to accomplish a goal, how to deal with different personalities. And sometimes you don't get what you want, but you got to do it for the betterment of the team. If you don't have that, I don't think it's really hard for you to be successful in life, because sometimes you don't get to pick and choose who you work with, DJ. You
Yeah.
just got to go work 9 to 5.
Right.
And what are you going to fight your way every time you go to a job because you don't like someone? You just got to put it aside to achieve a common goal. Sports are very important.
And what I like to say, and Richard, I'll give you an opportunity as well, is that, when you're involved in team sports, particularly, as it pertains to what we're talking about right now, it doesn't matter who gets the credit. And especially if you have a role and you do your part, you do your job. Everybody can't get the microphone or the camera or the interview because, again, and as it pertains to the sports that we talk about traditionally, right. The starting pitcher or the quarterback, for that matter, or the shooting guard, the guy who scores the most points. There are other players on the team with those guys that understand that their role is to do their job, and they probably wouldn't have won or been as successful if they didn't understand that and didn't get caught up into all the pettiness that goes along and the jealousy that goes along with folks that realize, hey, man, this is a team. And I know, everybody's name can't be in the paper. Everybody can't be on the news, but I was a part of that team.
Yeah, and that's the big thing is that you get to say you're part of that team. And most people that are good people, DJ, shout out the people that are on the team that contributed to the success.
Absolutely. Rich?
Yeah, I had to learn at a very early age that it's not about me. It is about the team. I mainly played baseball, but when I was playing basketball, I made sure that, that I wasn't a ball hog because I like to shoot and try to score as many points as possible. But that didn't work out for me, and that's why I didn't play in high school. But I learned that you also are part of a team when you join the military because in basic training, you as a platoon have to work together. Otherwise, the drill instructors will do what we call corrective training, where we have to do a bunch of push-ups and until we're tired. And if we are tired of doing push-ups, we got to do jumping jacks, and but you got to work together as a team. I mean, that's really what it is all about. And, we all come from different walks of life. So it's different personalities, different egos. And that's why it all mixes together. And when we come together as a team, we can accomplish anything.
Yes, indeed. Hey, man, let's talk about the Atlanta Braves if you can, because they are, up and down. Again, lost 2-1 to the Phillies. Spencer Strider, he pitched 7 decent innings, obviously giving up, a few hits and, a couple of runs, man. But, again, no offensive firepower on the behalf of the Atlanta Braves. Sean Murphy had a home run. The Braves lost to the Phillies 2-1 of course, at Truist Park. However, they will go on the road, of course, have the day off today, but they're going to Los Angeles to play the Angels. And again, man, that's up and down, bumpy, turbulence that we're going through with the Atlanta Braves, man. I tell you, I don't know when it's going to stop.
Yeah, and you're looking at the Mets have struggled, and the Braves have not been able to capitalize on the Mets' woes. The Phillies now retake the division. And then right below the Braves is the Marlins on a 7-game win streak. So no game is going to come easy. Hopefully they have a good series against the Angels. The Angels just have not been the same since Shohei Ohtani went to the Dodgers. And, they've had some injury problems with Mike Trout. The Angels are just desperate to try to get some wins. And hopefully the Braves can end up winning the series down there in Anaheim.
Certainly just an afterthought, if you will. I mean, obviously changing the name to the L.A. Angels and, again, losing Shohei to the L.A. Dodgers. And then Mike Trout, with all of his, that big, huge, humongous contract, not that he didn't deserve it, but not long after he signed the deal, man, he's had some injury issues. But, man, I tell you what, you very rarely hear about the Angels anymore.
Right. I have no sympathy for the Angels after they beat my Giants in the 2002 World Series. We were 5 outs away, and Dusty Baker decides to pull Russ Ortiz. Still salty after all these years.
Goodness gracious. Hey, man, listen, we're coming up at the top of the hour. Mike Vee, that's right, the original Mike Vee. He'll be with us, and, of course, we'll have an opportunity to learn a little bit about, if you don't know who Mike Vee was or is, the fact of the matter is that I cut my teeth in Sports Talk Radio initially with Mike Vee as a co-host with him on a show called the Mike Vee and DJ Jones show on AM 540 WDAK. And that was an afternoon drive show, man. And I tell you what, we had fun cutting it up through. It's come full circle because I started in Sports Talk Radio with Mike Vee. And then, of course, having an opportunity to, many, many years later, have a guy that's basically a protege, a budding superstar in the business, to be here to hear from Mike Vee. You've heard all these stories, but again, you get to meet the man, the myth, the legend.
I can't wait to meet him. I already want to call him Bebo, Mike Bebo. I just can't wait to get him on and conversate and understand what was it like. I saw the newspaper article over close to 30 years ago, DJ.
Yeah.
Unbelievable, man. And
Wow.
would have loved to have been able to have those, be in the car and listen to those afternoons. I would have been 4 years old. So I probably was in the car listening, knowing my granddad and my dad.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to remember that at 4 years old.
All right, we're going to take a short break. Richard, when we come back, we'll have an opportunity to kind of lead into Mike Vee's interview at the top of the hour, but I'll tell you a little bit about where we were, how we did it, why we did it, and the fun that we had. Hey, you're watching Facebook Live and you're listening to WOTC HD2, Sports Visions 921. We are your hometown sports guys.
All right, and we gon' take a ride tonight. So let's slide. All right.
This is the Sports Visions Morning Show.
Let's do this.
Sports Visions 92.1.
Celebrate America's birthday all weekend long at Synovus Park as the Columbus Clinkstones battle the Montgomery Biscuits July 4th through the 6th. It all starts Friday with a red, white, and boom kind of night. A dazzling post-game fireworks display presented by Piedmont Health. On Saturday, the first 1,000 fans 21 and over score a free Clinkstones floppy hat courtesy of Cutwater. And kids can run the bases after the game thanks to Witt's Frozen Custard. Sunday wraps it up with 706 Day Fuzzy's Kids Club. Get your tickets now at clinkstones.com.
Employee pricing for all is still going strong at Rivertown Ford in Columbus. Through July 7th, we're extending your opportunity to pay what we pay across the entire lineup of in-stock Ford trucks and SUVs. Tap into the powerful capabilities of any 2024 Ford F-150 with financing as low as 3.9 APR for 72 months, plus up to $2,750 in retail bonus cash and $1,000 trade assistance on top of already low employee pricing. Or take the whole family on epic adventures with employee pricing on all 2024 Ford Expeditions. Unlock even more unbelievable savings with up to $4,000 customer cash plus 2 years or 24,000 miles prepaid maintenance as you travel in style and comfort. From America, for America. Get outstanding Ford performance at employee prices with Rivertown Ford in our showroom or online at rivertownford.com. Offer ends July 7th, 2025. Not all buyers will qualify. See dealer for complete details.
Everything is expensive right now. Gas, food, you name it. You're spending more, you're making the same or less money. So what do? You rack up credit card debt. That's what you do. It's not your fault. It's the economy. And guess what? If you rack up too much credit card debt like some of us, you can't pay your bills. Then the credit card companies, as nice as they are, start hounding you for money. Then you start your downward spiral. A smart thing for you to do is to call the Zero Debt. They can help you consolidate all your credit card bills into one affordable payment. Millions of people have done it. It works to make you debt-free. Make this free call right now. It costs you nothing to learn more.
800-628-5675. 800-628-5675. 800-628-5675. That's 800-628-5675.
Corey's Furniture Express, your express way to save.
If you're looking for furniture, you need to shop Gorey's Furniture Express. It's the largest furniture store around with over 106,000 square feet of in-stock merchandise with new shipments arriving weekly. Locally owned and operated with everything you need from rugs to recliners to sofas and more. And that's only at Gorey's Furniture, Alabama Highway 169 in Opelika.
The Herd with Colin Cowherd, 12 to 3 on Sports Visions 92.1. Now back to the Sports Visions Morning Show. Here's Carver Tigers legend DJ Jones and Thrift Barringer.
Welcome back to the Sports Visions Morning Show. DJ Jones, Richard Holdridge. That's him. I'm watching you, Rich. I'm watching.
Big Rich.
And Thrift Barringer, of course. Big shout out to Judge Robin Fuson. Of course, Judge came on. He's a former minor league baseball player, 10 plus years that he spent in chasing his dreams before he decided to make the move to the law. He ended up going to law school and actually was working in baseball. for an organization, helping them with their pictures and whatnot, but going to school at the same time. But he earned his law degree, and of course, I went into private practice for a while, and ended up being appointed for the judge down in Hillsborough County back in 2019. And he's been there ever since. But we have found him, and we not only found a good friend, but we found another contributor, Thrift, if you will, that, again, a guy that, especially when we have we know the significance of it. And we didn't even get a chance to ask him about the minor league team here that we have currently now with regards to the Clingstones. But, we have him not just for, that period of time today, but we got him other times as we experienced this season, and to go through the ups and downs with mainly from a developmental side as a player, because, that's a tough pill to swallow. This guy was, he said he pitched extremely well, got invited to Major League camp, with the Red Sox. Had awesome numbers and just never got the call. And that happens a lot. And just even the next time is going into that and talking about how these young men stay focused, because we got kids that are playing right now for the Columbus Clingstones that go through those same situations, those same issues.
Oh, exactly right. And you're wondering, because he was talking about them sharing apartments and stuff. I don't know if the Clingstones, if they have to share one bedroom apartment. Since I'm not saying that was wrong or right, I'm interested in seeing what's the life they live compared to what he had to go through a lot during Major League Baseball, minor league.
Oh, we already made that, and documented that they, to what they do today is nowhere near what they were doing back in the day. Because again, even from a standpoint of feeding these guys, making sure that they have 3 square meals and all that stuff, is so much more advanced with regards to what they do today. So but when he did share with us, he did say he had to borrow pool furniture to move into these places, that these spaces and all. And again, now I do know this with regards to what I've been told as far as the Columbus Clingstones is that they have a very, very nice property that they all stay at. But Gary Ingram, who was another one of our contributors, made it clear that back during his time in his era, that they had families that allowed you to come stay with them in their homes. And again, they adopted some of these families and some of these players, Bob, obviously vice versa. But it's a whole new world now. And again, I'm sure, and as it should be, these guys are taken care of at the highest level.
Yeah, I know that other professional sports teams here in town do have the host families opportunity for these players, because if they're not from this area, you actually get to stay with a family, and then the family actually gets a benefit out of it by getting season tickets or getting anything they want. And that would be a nice option, but I think that now times have changed, and they probably got the entire team up in an apartment somewhere.
I know if it was me, obviously today, you want your own apartment. It's nice to have a host family, but and again, if that's all you have, that's fine. But today, modern kids, knowing what we know, and of course, it just, it wouldn't be any other way to have your own. And then you can't pile 4 guys in one spot. You got to have, pretty much your own room. You're grown. You're talking about grown kids, grown men with regards to being, 21, 22, 23 years old, and certainly they don't need to be piled in, in a 1 big room, 2-bedroom apartment.
No, absolutely right. And you got to think too, with most of these guys, they want their own personal space. It's just not going to happen. Then you got the top guys that are knowing they're going to be moving on to the next level. They want to be treated right as well. But I literally enjoyed talking with Judge. If you missed that interview, go to SportsVisions Facebook page and YouTube channel. Also, Apple and Spotify. You can listen to us there commercial free. And then the SportsVisions radio app, you should already have that downloaded right now on your phone today.
Coming up in just a little bit, Mike Vee, the man himself. Of course, he used to be the voice of the Columbus Cottonmouths. And, of course, he was also one of the voices on the Sports Monster with yours truly, down on Broadway, Thrift, 540 WDAK. Man,
wow.
That was the show in town. And Mike and I had a run at that for several years. And then Mike went off to chase greener pastures, as he, of course, deservedly so. I think his first move that he offered, or at least he was offered an opportunity to come to Montgomery, and at that time the big station was Montgomery. Birmingham, I think, was either in the forefront, or that might have been a little bit later. But I know hopefully Mike will remember more so than I, because again, he chased his opportunities, and it ended up leading him around and back to Columbus. and he stayed in in sports with the local hockey team, and he also had a radio show that he continued a bunch after Dale and I had gone on and started SportsVisions. But yeah, we'll kind of recapture those days and talk about the opportunities, because again, like I said, it's come full circle now with you being in the seat that you are here, and obviously with the great things that you're doing with Georgia Alabama Sports Live. Did have an opportunity to share that with him, as well as I was talking to him setting up this interview this morning, and so he says he's really anxious to meet you guys as well. Yeah,
this is going to be exciting for sure. We've heard a lot of stories about Mike Vee. I already got theater of the mind, and we being able to, like, what does he look like? What does he sound like? He's going to sound like Chris Mad Dog Russo and Mike Francesca, those New York accents, raspy voice coming in with the hot takes. Or I just can't wait. And it's going to be a lot of fun. And I know it's going to rekindle some memories and maybe some people locally who remember that show many years ago.
Absolutely. So coming up in just a little bit, a guy that actually helped me cut my teeth in sports talk radio, Mike Vee, my original partner right here in Columbus, Georgia, on the Sports Monster, AM 540 WDAK. All right, we're going to go ahead and take a break, and when we come back on the other side, Mike Vee will be right here on the SportsVisions Morning Show. You're watching WLTC HD2, SportsVisions 92.1. This is the SportsVisions Morning Show.
Flashing.
You're listening to the SportsVisions Morning Show. SportsVisions 92.1.
The other day, I seen this dog attack this guy. It was so bad, the dog kept biting him. People was trying to get the dog off the person, but the dog wouldn't let go. Then out of nowhere, this guy comes up and yells, "Top dog!" Dog stopped. He walked away. It was crazy. Know what people were saying? That's the dog. That's Top Dog. Know what I was saying? I was asking, why was he biting him like that? What happened? Then I got the backstory. He just hit somebody down the street, got out his car and started running. Out of nowhere, this dog came running after him, caught him, and started biting him. And it was Top Dog. Couldn't believe it. He was fast. I couldn't believe it. He was big. I couldn't believe it. Any accident, you gotta believe it. Top Dog Law.
Celebrate America's birthday all weekend long at Synovus Park as the Columbus Clinkstones battle the Montgomery Biscuits July 4th through the 6th. It all starts Friday with a red, white, and boom kind of night. A dazzling post-game fireworks display presented by Piedmont Health. On Saturday, the first 1,000 fans 21 and over score a free Clinkstones floppy hat courtesy of Cutwater. And kids can run the bases after the game thanks to Wood's Frozen Custard. Sunday wraps it up with 706 Day Fuzzy's Kids Club. Get your tickets now at clinkstones.com.
Hey, this is Lisa Stofan. Heard the Mark Patrick weight loss hypnosis hype? Well, I attended because my father stopped smoking with hypnosis. Hypnosis eliminated my desire for soda and fast food, made me want to exercise, and I lost 60 pounds in 6 months. My energy level exploded. I went to another session to deal with some other problem foods, and I lost another 10 pounds. In fact, I brought my husband. He lost weight. More important, cholesterol and blood pressure improved. My friend went, and she lost 20 pounds in the first 2 months. So does Mark Patrick hypnosis work? Oh yeah, it works. Nothing has changed my life more. Well, except maybe my husband. He's so proud of me. Makes me cry.
Oh, wow. That's crazy. What are you waiting for? Join Mark Patrick's seminars and lose the weight or stop smoking guaranteed. Early bird special only $49.99. That's right. Weight loss seminar Wednesday, July 23rd at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites at Northlake in Columbus at 5:30 p.m. Registration starts at 5 p.m. Stop smoking seminars at 8 p.m. with registration at 7:30 p.m. Sign up at markpatrickseminars.com.
The YMCA is just a starting line. For the true self blooms only when we find our purpose, what makes us tick below the surface. Why is the before work hustle and after school home a section of my block, the corner to call my own? With my why, I stand strong, seen and supported all along. It's a million faces in a mirror and everyone belongs. Find your why. Join today at ymca.org for a better us.
Now more than ever, Lowe's knows you don't just want a low price, you want the lowest price. And with our lowest price guarantee, you can count on us for competitive prices on all your home improvement projects. If you find a qualifying lower price somewhere else on the same item, we'll match it. Lowe's, we help, you save. Price match applies to same item. Current price at qualifying retailers. Exclusions and terms apply. Learn how we'll match price at lowes.com/lowest price guarantee.
WLTC HD2 Casita and W221DP Columbus. You're listening to the Sports Visions Morning Show. Sports Visions 92.1. Your home for Falcons football. Sports Visions 92.1. Now back to the Sports Visions Morning Show. Here's Chattahoochee Valley Sports Hall of Famer DJ Jones and Thrift Barringer.
Yeah. Welcome back to the Sports Visions Morning Show. DJ Jones, Thrift Barringer, and Richard Holdridge flying the plane today. No turbulence. Great Monday morning, everybody. We appreciate you tuning in this morning. And of course, I want to give a special shout out to Judge Robin Fuson, all the way down in Hillsborough County, Tampa, Florida, the former minor league player who is now the sitting judge in the Hillsborough County court system, coming in, giving us some information that just over the roof with regards to the experience as a former minor league player that made the transition after changing his goals and his thought process from being a Major League Baseball player and, of course, going on to be a lawyer and now an active sitting judge. So we appreciate that. Hey, as I explained before, again, I cut my teeth at one point in time a long, long time ago with a guy that, again, that's near and dear to my heart. And, again, I just caught up with him. Thrift and I, we talk about him all the time. And, again, different callers for over the course of the past few years, they often mention Mike Vee. And, of course, he was the former voice of the Columbus Cottonmouths and a whole lot of other sports that he and I had done here in the Chattahoochee Valley. I want to say good morning to my friend, Mike Vee. Good morning, man.
Good morning, DJ. Good morning, guys. Appreciate the opportunity to talk to you today.
Absolutely, Mike. First and right off the bat, man, again, as I was talking to these guys here, and again, we got an old picture up of you, and it was hard as hell to find a picture of you, but I got an old picture from that very first article that went in the paper that they wrote in the Ledger back when we had newspaper. That show you how long ago we were. A picture of you sitting behind, the microphone with some jersey on, looked like a Boston Bruins jersey. I don't know, but it's an old kind of a colored, shredded picture from the newspaper, man. And that's what people see now on Facebook there as we talk to you. But let's go back to the beginning, Mike. How in the hell did you get to Columbus to even get on the radio? Yeah, let me before you even meet me. Go ahead.
It's a thing that I really didn't think was going to happen. In my life, I mean, I'm born up in Rhode Island, and of course, I was on the radio up there. I had a successful show, and things were going good my way. I kind of clawed my way into the radio business because at the time I had a wife and two very young children who are now 44 and 42. So that tells you how long ago that was. But it was a situation in which my wife, my late wife, Amanda, ended up getting an opportunity because her boss came down to Lynette, Georgia, and she got a director's job in physical therapy and tapped my wife, who was her assistant at Meeting Street School in Providence, Rhode Island. They did a lot of work with kids with, cerebral palsy, and very tough job because it wore on my wife. And I didn't realize it at the time how bad it kind of was after talking to both Sharon and her throughout the years. They decided Sharon decided to get my wife a job down here. They flew me because I was like, I'm going to move where? To Alabama. And I remember I had just seen that movie, My Cousin Vinny. And that's what I thought of Alabama. I didn't, I was just like a lot of people from up north thinking that Alabama and Georgia, it's just not for me. I'm a Rhode Islander. Well, it didn't take me long once I got down here to realize that I love this place. And I have stayed here ever since and got fortunate enough to get picked up on an Auburn radio cluster, and then, of course, the opportunity with Alan Woodall and that crew back in the day with 540. That was, I'm going to believe it was the Imus show that they were running in the morning. And, yeah, DJ, I think it was the Imus in the morning show because I remember some of the correspondence we had from some of the listeners that were very big Don Imus fans when we got on, but it didn't take us long to kind of shovel our way through. And then I ended up, Roger Schultz came aboard, and that's one of that picture in that paper is Roger Schultz, DJ Jones. I think DJ and Roger were hiking the ball on the sidewalk on Broadway. And so it's a very, very interesting time for me, and it's a very satisfying time to me. And I can honestly say with the things that happened to me in my life down here, both great and tragic, have certainly made me the person that I am. And of course, now in retirement, but it is a situation where I can remember, DJ, the first day I met you at the Howard Johnson's. It was the hotel on
Veterans.
Was it the Howard Johnson?
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. They had a great a lunch buffet there. Yeah,
and we were doing a show, and I was by myself actually, and this guy comes in with a Georgia shirt on, rather athletic gentleman, sits down, and during the break came up to me and just said something, and I said, "Oh, gee, why don't you come on the air with me and talk a little football?" And of course you did. And then I remember asking you the question. I said, "You look like you played a little ball in your life. Did you play much football?" And I remember your comment was, "Yeah, a little bit. Played for the Georgia Bulldogs and Green Bay Packers and the Denver Broncos." And I was like, "Well, I guess you know more football than me." So it was a interesting time, and that's how we hooked up, and everything from there just kind of moved along. And boy, did we have some great times. That's all I can say.
Mike, it's a pleasure to finally hear your voice. Many stories. This is Thrift Barringer, by the way, and many stories that I've heard from back in the day, man. But I gotta know what was the inspiration to get into sports talk radio? Who were the guys you looked up to? Why did you want to get in it? Why did you want to be a sports broadcaster when you were younger? Or did this happen when you got older and you decided you just fell in your lap?
Well, what's really funny is I loved doing. I used to get a cassette recorder, and this is in the early 70s, and I used to turn down the volume. And I used to record Boston Bruin games. I mean, hockey is baseball and basketball. I mean, if you're a Boston guy, I mean, it doesn't get much better than the Bruins, the Celtics, and the Red Sox as far as tradition. I think people can understand you living in an area that's very, very competitively, in sports. They've always been pretty good, I mean, a lot of disappointing moments with the Red Sox up until the 2000s, but finally they cracked that barrier. And the Celtics, of course, put up more banners than anybody else. Lakers fans are going to argue with that, but don't count the ones in Minnesota.
Amen.
And then the thing is that you had the New England Patriots who waited to get good until I left. They didn't get good until I left, but boy, was it fun being a Patriot fan down here for 20 years. And, of course, the Red Sox with 1985 and Bill Buckner. My heart broke, but then in 2000, and when they won their first World Series, I still have the placket up on the wall that was given to me, a Boston Globe cutout of the front page, and it's in a lacquered, but very unique gift that I have hanging in my sports room.
Mike, Richard Holdridge, also from SportsVisions. It's an honor. I know that you've got a lot of stories, especially coming from the Boston area where it's predominantly professional sports, and going to the South, because I could relate being from the San Francisco Bay Area where they truly care about professional sports. They still care about professional sports down here in the South, but it's college football. I mean, college football is pretty much lives and breathes in the South. What were some things that you noticed right away when you made that transition from the Boston area here to the South?
Well, I mean, you got to taste it. And I say that because you came down here, and it's a weird thing that people do down here. And I can remember meeting people, for the first time. I just got here and meeting people, shaking their hands. They said, "Who you for?" And I'm like, "Who you for?" I don't, understand. And then the next thing you know, Alabama, Auburn, and of course, I said, well, I mean, I guess I'm a Boston College guy. We did have Doug Flutie for a few years, but other than that, Boston College sucked out loud. And we pay attention, like you say, to a lot more professional sports out there. But boy, did I get immersed quickly into the culture and to learn about, especially coming to Columbus, Georgia. It is like you are in the pinnacle of the SEC, because you've got Georgia Bulldog fans, which DJ will attest to, and guys that played there. And I've met a lot of Georgia players that DJ introduced me to, and guys I would have never, honestly, I would have never learned as much about SEC football if it wasn't for both DJ Jones and Roger Schultz, who we were together for those years. And to be immersed into I got instantly hooked. And before I know it, I'm talking football, son. I'm down here and I'm having a great time. And boy, did we live some field trips and going to different games and meeting people from different walks of life that are all come together on a Saturday. And it is kind of weird when you first move down here to go from football Sunday to a football Saturday, and you find yourself being, again, more of a college guy than you are a professional guy. Other than my Patriots, I still peaked on Sunday.
The legendary Mike Vee, ladies and gentlemen, of course, the sports talk show host from back in the mid to late, 90s. Man, we go back to 97. And matter of fact, that article that you're talking about was taken in the Ledger back in August of 1997, and it kind of kicked us all off of going on together, Mike, with Roger doing a morning show as well, replacing Imus before you, Mike, and or at least after you. But also, you and I opened up on did a drive time show in the afternoons, and we operated in the studios down on Broadway. And I show my wife and Thrift and anybody else that listens to me every time I go down Broadway. I was like, that's where we used to do our show, right there. And it's actually still, the building is still right there. And again, people could walk right by the studios and look right into it, look right at us as it's similar to what we have here, but we're inside of a building. But yeah, man, those days, again, when you talk about all the things that we were able to accomplish, Mike, we call games, we call local high school games. I mean, what was some of the more memorable thing? And I know it was a long time ago, Mike, and I know you ain't what you used to be, and I certainly am not. But what were some of the most memorable things that you could think of us doing that you didn't never thought that we could have done?
I'm going to give a credit to a guy that was a couple of doors down the line, Ray Pravowski. I mean, that may ring a bell, I think, for ex-softball players and maybe people that took loans. But Ray was a guy that used to come over, and boy, I used to be able to do a good Ray impersonation.
Yeah,
but,
you did.
As you say, we're not like we used to be. old Ray used to come down, and he'd want to get, kind of want to get into the act a little bit. And of course, Ray was Ray. We loved Ray. And all of a sudden Ray started putting together those clips. I don't know if you still have them, DJ. He used to come up with those little placards that he used to make and laminate them. And if I can recall, we did tailgate parties on a Saturday, either at Auburn or at Georgia. And of course, the real life that you live in SEC football is those 24 hours before the game. And of course, the game tailgating and meeting listeners and meeting the variety of people. And I honestly was amazed at, how many people were listening to us at the time, that we were doing our drive time, doing it from 3 to 7 or 3 to 6, and then moved to 4 to 7, I think.
Yeah,
at the later years.
Something like that. Yeah.
We had that drive time hour down pretty buttoned up, and I just remember there was just so many people from the community of Columbus and even Auburn, Opelika, that we got to meet, and that my memories are going, DJ, to those games and tailgating with our fans. And then of course I ended up lucking out that a hockey team just happens to move here when I'm here, and there's not many radio guys that know about hockey. And I remember Phil Roberto, the general manager of the Cottonmouths, coming on our show, talking to me for a little, and then all of a sudden, the next thing you know, hey, I'm doing color for the Cottonmouths, and 21 years later, that's where I retired at. And you got to say that I lived a time to meet a lot of different sports people in Columbus, and bring me back to the decision to come down to the South. Boy, I look back at it, and it was the greatest decision for me and my family that I could have ever made.
I love it, man. I love the accent. I love the fact that you do not deny you're diehard Boston fan, which is really cool. But Mike, we live in a unique area, man, between Phoenix City and Columbus. We kind of put all of it in one. So we're encompassing 2 different states, multiple counties. It really is unique compared to anywhere else that I know of, because we're right on the border. And again, both cities really are unique in their own right, but they consider themselves all one big community. Talk about that aspect of it as well. You mentioned Auburn, Alabama. You got the Georgia part of it too with all the colleges, but this right here, there is a plethora of sports, plethora of schools. There's no limit to what you can talk to in this area.
ESPN, and I'm going to draw a blank on what year it was off the top of my head, but ESPN actually came out, and you can probably Google it, at Opelika, Alabama, was voted the best city in college football to be in. And that's because of its proximity to all of the action. Alabama, Georgia, and Auburn. And of course, it is, what is it? DJ's 3 hours, I'm going to say, to Athens.
2.5.
Not even. It depends on traffic.
2.5.
Yeah, and 3 hours to Tuscaloosa, depending on what nut you're driving on those back roads with. And you get there, and you just realize that you are in the proximity of almost like you're in the red spot of the bullseye in the dot board when it comes to college football. And I remember that was one of the things, ESPN, and I was like, golly, talk about lucky. I mean, they haven't even named the town that I live in. I mean, the little town that I live in, it's not very well known. Most people call it Opelika or, Opelika. And of course, I was quickly schooled on that. It is Opelika, which I'm very proud to be a resident of.
Mike, in addition to some of the games that we call locally, high school games, college games, also, your buddy here was able, I was in the promotions business, and, for the most part, continue to use that as one of our weapons. But, some of the first parades that people knew around here as far as sports organizations. Do you remember those Cottonmouths parade in '97 that after they won the title? We started with that. And of course, we had several others.
97, 98, the championship year was the second year that the Cottonmouths were in existence. And of course, never forget it, Wichita, Kansas, is where we won the cup. And it was a very interesting story. To get a hockey team that has just won a championship, and let's just say that you celebrate a little bit when you win a championship, if you know what I mean. But we had to go from maybe 2 hours sleep after celebrating a championship, if you know what I mean, and try to get to the airport. And we had, vans that picked us up, and wheeled us out to the airport in Wichita. And of course, DJ helped me out. ASA Airlines, I believe, was the sponsor for the Cottonmouths Air Travel. And they were a small outfit that used to fly. That's how we flew from Columbus to Atlanta, from Atlanta to Wichita on these little planes, which made me not. I just, I'm a guy that kind of likes the big birds, but the little birds got us there, did the job. And when we got back to Columbus, we were driving on I-185.
Yes.
And coming back, I think you know where a lot of people might realize where that checkpoint is in the springtime that they have with the police all the time there on 185. And we're going and we see the police lights and we're like, oh boy, it's a bunch of police there. We didn't even really realize that we were going to get escorted into town. Got to drive into town to the Columbus Civic Center to where there was just a tremendous amount of people waiting for us. And I could just remember the feeling of just kind of like floating on air. And then of course, the parade that, we were involved in, TJ, with the Columbus Cottonmouths and riding on a truck next to everybody that played. And of course, I was the color man at the time, and Matt Musgrove and I were in one vehicle, and we drove down that Broadway. And what a great memory you just brought back for me, guys. You make me feel young again.
Mike, I got to ask you, me being a historian, I like going back into the archives when it comes to the history of Columbus sports. And you came on the scene right at the time where there was a lot of national stories. You just had the softball team in the 96 Olympics, the Phoenix City Little League team making it to the Little League World Series in 99. What is your most favorite memorable moment in Columbus sports?
Because I was with the Cottonmouths so many years, there was some championships that it's tough to say, you know what I mean? What championship it was. But 97, 98, unbelievable. We were like locusts. 2004, we won on and when we switched leagues from the ECHL to the SPHL. And of course, the Cottonmouths were in the SPHL. This is the team that's in there now. The River Dragons are in the Federal League. But I got to say the championships for the Cottonmouths probably have to be the pinnacle that I can remember. And of course, again, just my to go back to where DJ and I started and being immersed into the sports culture and meeting DJ Jones. And I did not realize that Columbus had so many professional football players, that a city the size of Columbus would have as many guys that either played the high level of college or were drafted into the NFL. And if you go on Google and you check out all those players, you got some unbelievable names. There's some Hall of Famers in there.
Yeah, unbelievable, man. And I do want to ask, though, about the Boston Celtics, the Boston Red Sox, the New England Patriots. In this last 2000, man, and my DJ knows, I have come after Boston fans. I think sometimes it can be almost unbearable how much success you've had over the years and still can be complaining about everything when I have to watch my Atlanta Falcons, Braves, and Hawks still stay irrelevant and not win championships. Not going to get me fired up this morning, Mike. But with that being said, in the last 25 years, man, from the Patriots, Celtics, and the Red Sox all winning championships, how's that been as a fan to not have one, but three different professional organizations, and throw even the Bruins in there as well, that have won a championship? I mean, and then go in the previous 100 years in which you felt like you were just always being cursed. I mean, how has that been? It has to be one of the biggest turnarounds I've ever seen.
It truly was. I mean, but, of course, they waited until I moved down south here. I didn't get a chance
You
to
didn't get to enjoy it, right?
Foxborough and jump up and down and tailgate at the Bay State parking lot like we used to. And of course, the old Boston Garden was still up when I moved down here, or just was getting built, the Fleet Center and now whatever it's called. And of course, the big story would be the Patriots, the turnaround that the Patriots had. And can remember we got Drew Bledsoe. I mean, Drew Bledsoe's a heck of a quarterback, back in the day. And of course he gets hurt and this young guy comes in, Tom Brady guy. And of course he's just a rookie off the bench. And like, oh boy, we're going to suck this year. We lost our quarterback. And before you know it, lightning catches. And there's a big argument when Drew Bledsoe gets back of who goes back into the lineup. And if you recall, and DJ, I guess you can attest to this because you were a pro player. The old rule it used to be you don't lose your job to injury.
Yeah.
When you recover, you get your job back.
Yeah.
And Bill Belichick, he made a decision that he was staying with the young one. And who could ever look back at that's when Belichick became, don't question Belichick. Whatever he says, whatever he does, he's right. And that was the greatest decision, I think, a football coach has ever made in the NFL.
Mike Vee, I tell you what, man, time flies, man. We were only, I think, feel like we only talked about 10 minutes or so. However, you know what? You're going to be coming back, man, because obviously we got to do this over a period of time. Of course, reintroduce you to the community. I know you're still around, but you're into the music now. What can folks find you if they want to come out and hang out with the old Mike Vee? Obviously, you were karaoke king back then, and you're a karaoke king now.
Well, no, Jackie Lee's the king. I'm the Godfather.
Okay.
You remember that was the titles that we got.
Okay.
I got a trophy in there about that. And the thing is that people that I perform, or I don't perform. People perform. I don't sing anymore. I used to love to, but now I just basically run the board and watch these other singers at the Maple Bar on Wednesday and Sunday. So come on down. We have a great time over there. And of course they've got the TVs going and all the great stuff that's happening in sports, whether it be local or national or college, which is fixing to get underway before we know it. It's just a matter of months now, and a matter of a month and a half. And we're going to be back into the football season watching it on ESPN, which you can catch up there at the Maple Sports Bar.
Absolutely. And Mike, I tell you what, all your friends, if they want to catch the Sports Visions morning show, and for that matter, Dan Patrick, Colin Cowherd, and Paul Feinbaum, they can do it right here on Sports Visions 92.1, man. Hey, I appreciate you, and I'll be talking to you real soon because this is not going to be your first or last rodeo, buddy.
Nope. And DJ, I just want to say thank you very much for the opportunity to say hello to everybody. And of course, we'll remember the days of the Sports Monster.
Love it.
All right, buddy. Take care. That's Mike Vee, y'all.
All right. Have a great day.
Yes,
Bye-bye.
sir.
Thanks, Mike.
I tell you what, hey, man, special times through. If I tell you, man, full circle though.
Full circle. And glad that we got to have him on and got to talk to him. Mike, you're a legend. Appreciate it as always, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, look, what we're going to do, hey, don't go far because we're going to talk to a guy that you probably have seen at some point in time during the high school football season, especially when the high school gets into the playoffs. His name is John Nelson, affectionately known as Nelly. He'll be right here on the Sports Visions morning show coming up next.
Stay tuned. More local and national sports coverage next on the Sports Visions Morning Show. Sports Visions 92.1.
Good morning. I'm Rex Castillo. Here's a look at your morning headlines. If you live in the following areas of Phoenix City, 12th Avenue from 14th Place to 17th Street, along 14th Place, 15th Street, and 15th Place and 17th Street, you're advised to boil water for 3 minutes or use bottled water for the next 3 to 5 days. The boiling notice comes after the city found a severe water leak. And officials say in order to make repairs, water needs to be turned off. If not, there's a potential for fecal contamination or other disease-causing bacteria to enter the water distribution system. Meanwhile, Russell County Sheriff's deputies will be out on Highway 431 and other major roads in the county beefing up patrols. The state of Alabama hands out millions of dollars a year to local law enforcement agencies to run speed enforcement. The Russell County Sheriff's Office gets about $50,000 of that. Now that can spell trouble for those with a heavy foot and Florida in their sights. From WRBL News 3, I'm Rex Castillo. Have a great rest of your Monday.
Good Monday morning. We are off to a partly cloudy start, and those temperatures are more seasonal with readings in the low 70s, but expect a few localized areas of fog as we head towards daybreak. But it's going to be more of the same old summertime weather pattern across the area as we wrap up the month of June. Today's temperatures climb in the low 90s for highs with an isolated rain chance through the evening. We are tracking a better chance of showers and storms in the forecast for your Tuesday.
Hi, it's Steve Mann. Have you heard the commercials for the Mark Patrick Stop Smoking seminars? And they said only $49.99 and it could work for you. So I thought, that's not even a week's worth of smoking. So I went. And guess what? It did work for me. You know, my friends and family are still amazed. I quit smoking. I didn't have cravings, anxiety, or weight gain. Listen, I don't know how it works, but I know it works because I'm living proof and it's 100% guaranteed. So what do you got to lose? I'll tell you what you got to lose. A very bad habit.
Join Mark Patrick seminars and stop smoking now without cravings, irritability, weight gain, or your money back. Early bird special only $49.99 guaranteed. Hypnosis designed to work without anxiety, irritability, or weight gain. Early bird special only $49.99. Become a non-smoker. That's right. Seminar Wednesday, July 23rd at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites at North Lake in Columbus. Stop smoking seminars at 8 p.m. Weight loss seminars at 5:30 p.m. Sign up at markpatrickseminars.com.
Hey there, fellow travelers. It's me, the Hotel Whiz. Before you go anywhere, call me day or night for hotel rates too low to publish. I'll save you up to 75% on over 500,000 hotels across the globe. You see, I've already done the research, so you don't have to spend time online trying to find the best deal. That's up to 75% off. Just call me, the Hotel Whiz. It's a free call, and you get instant access to rates too low to publish with no cancellation fees.
Make a free call now and save up to 75% off your hotel rooms the next time you're going somewhere for business or pleasure. Call the Hotel Whiz now and get instant access to rates too low to publish.
800-710-3739. 800-710-3739. 800-710-3739. Call the Hotel Whiz right now at 800-710-3739.
The impact of a meal goes well beyond feeding our bodies because feeling full can sound like this.
How did the interview go? I did it! I got the job! I can't believe it!
And like this.
Mom, I got first place at the science fair with my volcano project.
That's amazing, sweetie. Congratulations.
Because when people are fed, futures are nourished, and everyone deserves to live a full life. Join the movement to end hunger at feedingamerica.org/act now. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Career changers, including veterans and active duty service members. Your transition starts here. Go from GI to IT in a matter of months. Become a certified cyber warrior with training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, offering IT pros great opportunities and a rewarding lifestyle while protecting our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. Deploy your career in IT today. Learn more at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. SkillBridge and other VA benefits are available to those who qualify.
Hey, it's Dan Patrick. Thanks for waking up with the SportsVisions morning show. Let's get back to DJ and Thrift on SportsVisions 92.1.
Welcome back to the SportsVisions morning show. DJ Jones Thrift Barringer and Richard Holdridge in the building. Big shout out to my main guy, Mike Vee. I tell you what, guys, it's not normal that you get to cut, or at least you get to interview a guy that you cut your teeth with in sports talk radio almost 30 years ago, man. Having Mike Vee on, and I hadn't talked to him probably 8 to 10 years or so, but he fits right back in. He still got that husky voice, that North Boston accent, and he's still doing his thing.
Yeah, he 100% is, man, and I think that's awesome to be able to have him on and just kind of rehash and just full circle. That's going to be an interview we play over and over again.
All right. Absolutely. We definitely will do that. Without further ado, let's go ahead and talk to another living legend. Over 25 years in the business. Of course, with Georgia Public GPB Sports, Johnny Nelson, affectionately known as Nelly. How you doing, my friend?
living legend, my what.
Where the hell are you, man?
I'm in my studio space.
Wow.
No,
That's impressive.
I have one of the other me's. Monday through Friday, 9:05 a.m. Eastern time until 11 whenever, with the SDH, the Soccer Down Here network. We do a morning talk show having to do with everything soccer and with Atlanta United and with Major League Soccer and with the Club World Cup and the Gold Cup and all the close calls and all the things. 9:05 Eastern time, I turn into the soccer version of me, and this is the studio space for those that are checking out things visually. And now, when full disclosure, when I got married, the boss, because she knows about the collection of all of the gear that I have,
right,
and she knows about the hats and the T-shirts, and it has also developed into the whole soccer scarf thing. And by the way, the triple towel rack.
Yes,
you can get at Pier 1 Imports. Oh, I mean, it is like God's gift to promoting soccer scarves and hanging on to them. And she actually had to reinforce the curtain rods at the back of the office HD here, because I use too many heavyweight winter scarves instead of summer scarves. And so that's a reinforced backdrop back there behind me. And then I've got about 425 hats. And she's like,
wow.
Well, what do we do? Do we put like a nail in the wall and put a hat on each one? I said, that might get kind of messy.
Yeah.
So we had our handyman come in, and he built a train track about a foot below the ceiling here in the office, so I can pyramid about 250 to 275 hats at any time, and I can rotate them out. So that's kind of how this is on 3 walls, and the soccer
nice.
And the big 55 is over here off camera. So, so welcome to the tour of Office HD on a Monday.
I like it. I like it a lot. I really do, man. Hey, look, first of all, we don't have a lot of time with you, so I want to take advantage of every minute that we have. You got a big show coming up. But the fact of the matter is, it's preseason for you and high school football. Everybody sees you doing they mainly see you during the playoffs and at the end of the season and the postseason, that kind of thing. But you are on today to tell us how you get ready for your high school football season.
Oh, wow. Literally, it is there are the newsletters, it's social media, it's 280 characters at a time. I have all of my sources. I mean, it's, you and Richard and Shop and everybody that's, putting out daily content, and it's just trying to stay as well read as possible. It's Jack and it's Rex and it's Tyler and it's everybody over that in that part of the planet, and all the other news anchors that are piecing together all of the stuff. And then Hannah and I do the monthly podcast right now. And so it's just a matter of just trying to stay as well read as possible in an off season that is as traditionally chaotic as most other off seasons are. So it's like, when you go to, like, growing up, I don't know if Richard and Shop remember these kinds of things, but you go to the really cheap amusement parks where they have the shooting gallery where you sit there and you aim at the duck and you hit the duck with the alleged rifle, and the duck goes from one side to the other, and you hit the duck again and it goes back and forth. That's kind of like what it is, trying to keep track of all the news and the coaching changes. It's like somebody hit the duck, it moves the other way. Somebody hit the duck again, it goes back. And so just trying to keep as well read as possible, really, until a month from now when folks are allowed to actually practice for real. That's pretty much how it runs.
You said the boss, and I have a boss. DJ has a boss. When we all live at home, and we have to make sure they're happy. But when football season's here, you're going to be gone on Friday nights. How, for young broadcasters, how do you help your loved one understand when it comes to Thursday and Fridays, I'm pretty much out of commission, especially during the fall?
Well, once again, this is where the boss went to college, by the way.
Yeah,
so,
right up the street.
And so yeah, she went right down the street. So she is a fan of sport to begin with.
Awesome.
And the funny thing is that when she knows about the business and the time demands and everything, especially like right now with Club World Cup, and it's like after my show is over at like 11:30, I go down to Mercedes-Benz for press conferences, go back for more press conferences, and you got matches on Tuesday and Saturday. But when I'm in football season, she's actually in her Cruton season. And so she understands the value of Cruton. She goes out and Croots.
I love Cruton.
Well, and that's the thing, as we always say, A, always be BC Cruton, always be Cruton. and the boss is in her Cruton season during high school and college football season. So there's that added dynamic of I understand the demands of her not being here in the state, and she understands the demands of me not being in the house. So, and literally, no lie, I have 4 calendars that I reference from during any time of the year. And we have a calendar on the fridge that we write in 2 different colors. She'll write in blue, I'll write in black. And literally it's like, okay, well, I'm here during these dates. I'm here during these dates. And so we call it the 100 days. And literally it is, where do we intersect? Where can we sit there and take time for each other?
Right.
And it's like, oh, we get like 12 hours on a Wednesday. Okay, so we get 12 hours on a Wednesday. We know that it's the busy season, but there are times, much like a school year, where it calms down and it's not as busy. So we take the busy season for what it is and take advantage of the not so busy season, like birthday week, which just completed, by the way. And we ended up spending time once again down the road at Grand National. We were there with the rowdy man, the man who really is in charge, the 12 to 15 pound Pekingese mix, who is underneath my table. So yeah, we got to take the dog with us. And so if we understand going in, and this is, for young broadcasters too, especially as you're trying to make your way, if you have those around you that understand the time demands, and you understand that, yes, there are going to be time demands, and because of how things are in this business where it's structured in 3 dimensions, you understand the differences and the demands on those that aren't in the business, and have someone who understands the demands of you in the business, if that makes any sense. And so I'm just incredibly fortunate that I have someone who is a college football fan, who is the boss, and someone who does Cruton for her gig. And so, it literally it's just the same things. It's just put in a different place when it comes to the job title.
John, I truly enjoy your storytelling. I mean, you could paint the picture when it comes to Georgia
The
high
best
school
in the
football.
business, baby.
Yes. I've had conversations with you about picking your brain about just that experience on a Friday night. You talk about the big schools like Milton and Buford, Collins Hill, but also the small schools too, like Fitzgerald, Tift County, where the whole town shuts down. Just talk about that experience of actually having both, where you have Metro Atlanta, many players in the NFL, but you also have these small towns that truly care about high school football.
Well, I mean, Holdy, you know what it means there in the Western Frontier just as much as anybody else. And so for me, I get as much enjoyment out of seeing the towns roll up the sidewalk at 5:30 and have everybody go watch a game. And so, whether it's Lincolnton, whether it's, Buena Vista, whether it's, it could be Sly County, in Ellaville, it could be Chatco, it could be, it could be Montgomery County, it could be anybody that's small, it could be Greenville even. And so for me, I get as much enjoyment in seeing the town pride and how everyone wraps themselves around the program. Because, yes, you might be living there. You might be new living in that, whatever that city is. But someone has lived there a lot longer than you. And they have family that has been to that school a lot longer than you have. You've been attached to that chain, whether it's elementary and high and what have you. So I always enjoy it because you can always find the really good stories that you wouldn't be able to find otherwise in the smaller towns. And so it's like, well, yeah, so-and-so was a part of the 1940 championship team. And yeah, he sits over there in the end zone, those kinds of things. So give me a good story. Give me a good town. I don't care what size it is. And I want to see the appreciation that home fan base has for whatever the sport is. It doesn't matter to me. I mean, shoot, these days when I'm covering high school soccer in February, March, and April, you're seeing what Spencer has been doing over the last couple of years and how things have been developing there. You see what Troop and LaGrange and Callaway have been able to do over the last handful of seasons. They wrap themselves around those programs just as much. And so for me, doesn't matter what the sport is. Now you're seeing it in more than just the heavyweights. You're seeing it in those secondary sports too, where the storytelling is going in other places. And it's just adding all of these different dimensions and ideas that are attached to it. Give me a good story. I don't care how big your town is.
Nelly, I know that you gave me some time restraints because I know you got to get ready for your show, but IJ would kill us if we didn't talk about the upcoming class or the induction for the Georgia High School Sports Hall of Fame, man. We got everybody from Cam Newton to Kirby Smart to Walt Frazier to Knox Culpepper, and you name it. I mean, it's a who's list.
And you and I are probably going to be. We always. It's an interesting battle where we sit there. We're like horse trading for. It's like, well, I want to introduce this guy. No, and it's fun to be able to. And for me, I will, full disclosure, I will let everybody know where my voting goes, and my voting is on purpose. It is. It leans toward the older individuals, and what I mean by that is the individuals that are, the 50s and the 60s and the 40s and the GIA and the true beginners of the sport in high school, because I have always been one to sit there and go, if we don't recognize them, and what I mean by that is recognizing those individuals that were the forefathers of the sport in the state. I was heavy on Clint Castleberry out of the blocks, when we started the High School Football Hall of Fame. My voting goes in that direction. I am looking toward a Doyle Orange to get in from Waycross High School. That is one of my tent poles going forward. A lot of my other ones are the ones from the 20s and the 30s. Everett Strupper was a big one for me. Clint Castleberry was a big one for me, because I fear that if we don't bring in, and we might even have to have, and DJ, we might have to bring this up in a future meeting where we need to have a seniors committee.
Yes.
A veterans committee, where if there are those that are in the 30s and 40s and 50s in the GIA, if for X number of years they're not put in, then we need to have a separate veterans committee to allot for those individuals to have that second chance. I don't want future generations to miss out on what makes these individuals, these pre-1960 individuals, just as important. Because if we don't introduce folks to history, we are doomed to forget it. And I've always been in that vein when it comes to my voting. I know that a lot of folks are voting in other directions, but for me, a lot of my guys are like 60s and before, so we don't forget who those individuals are.
Sounds so good, and it goes right, just great with this platform, because just before you came on here, we went back 30 years to the guy that cut my teeth in sports talk radio, man. And now all the great legends in the community, in and around, are on the SportsVisions morning show, including yourself, you living legend.
I remember when we would be doing segments with Mike Vee in the end zone at the Columbus Civic Center, where we would be talking, where you and I and Jim Fife would be talking about the Columbus Arena football team, the War.
Right. Yes. Well, you got a good memory. Boy, you got a good memory.
And so to have Mike, who is a legend there in that city, and to be able to have a conversation with him so folks once again can understand the beginnings of where things are.
Right.
What you, DJ, Shop, and Holdy are doing there in the mornings. It's just as important, so folks don't forget where the genesis of all of these things came from.
Hey, big guy, thank you so much. Got to let you go.
All right. Love you.
Love you, Nelly.
See you, Mike. John.
Good deal. We're going to take our final break of the day. You are watching Facebook Live and you're listening to WLTC HD2 Sports Vision 921. This is the Sports Visions Morning Show.
Hey, it's Dan Patrick. Thanks for making us your home for local, regional, national sports talk in the Chattahoochee Valley. This is Sports Visions 92.1.
Did you know you can add renewing your driver's license or ID card to your grocery list? The Georgia Department of Driver Services now offers self-service kiosks at select Kroger and Publix locations. From renewing or replacing to updating your address, the kiosks will issue a temporary paper license, and you'll receive a permanent card in the mail. Skip the line and save time by adding your driver's license renewal to your grocery list today. You'll even get a $5 discount on your order. Visit dds.georgia.gov to learn more.
This message is from the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. Veterans, Do you take medication? At VA, prescriptions have a range of copay levels, from free to $5, $8, or $11 for a 30-day prescription, depending on your eligibility. Refill by mail, in person, or on VA's mobile app. Sign up at va.gov or call 1-800-MyVA411.
Get your business on Sports Visions 92.1 now. Become a sponsor of the all-new Sports Visions Morning Show, The Dan Patrick Show, Colin Cowherd, or The Paul Feinbaum Show. Call DJ Jones at 706-681-1136. That's 706-681-1136. Your home for local, regional, and national sports coverage. Sports Visions 92.1.
At Cartoons Car Stereo in Columbus, buy it today, get it installed today. That's right, same-day installation. Cartoons, Rockford Fosgate products, stereo head units, amps, speakers, speaker boxes, alarms, remote starts, navigation units, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and so much more. Get same-day installation today. Call or stop by today for details. Cartoons on Veterans Parkway in Columbus. Employee pricing for all is still going strong at Rivertown Ford in Columbus. Through July 7th, we're extending your opportunity to pay what we pay across the entire lineup of in-stock Ford trucks and SUVs. Tap into the powerful capabilities of any 2024 Ford F-150 with financing as low as 3.9 APR for 72 months, plus up to $2,750 in retail bonus cash and $1,000 trade assistance on top of already low employee pricing. Or take the whole family on epic adventures with employee pricing on all 2024 Ford Expeditions. Unlock even more unbelievable savings with up to $4,000 customer cash plus 2 years or 24,000 miles prepaid maintenance as you travel in style and comfort. From America, for America. Get outstanding Ford performance at employee prices with Rivertown Ford in our showroom or online at rivertownford.com. Offer ends July 7th, 2025. Not all buyers will qualify. See dealer for complete details.
Now back to the Sports Visions Morning Show. Here's Denver Broncos 1987 AFC champion DJ Jones and Thrift Barringer.
Welcome back to the final segment of the Sports Visions Morning Show. Man, oh man, what a great show today. Of course, I want to give a shout out to Ben Watson, who's checking in from Anaheim, California. He has some future business leaders of America students out there at a convention, and he's listening on our Sports Visions radio app. Good morning to Miss Candy Lowe. Of course, my lovely wife is celebrating 20 years of tea and conversation. Debbie Crowell, good morning, as well as Jovar Rakestraw, Talithia Edwards, of course, Talithia Davidson, my cousin and good friend, and of course, Jarvis Elamine from down in Tampa Bay, of course, doing his thing down there. David Boyd and all the wonderful people that are listening this morning. We appreciate it. Such a great show, guys. Enjoyed it thoroughly.
I enjoyed it too, man. What an incredible amount of guests. And if you missed any of these guests and interviews, you can go to Facebook and YouTube. And you also can go to Apple and Spotify, listen commercial free, and download the Sports Visions radio app.
Man, Nelly has a great memory, man. Photographic memory. And he called you Shop. What's up with that?
Yeah, Thrift Shop. And so he got
Shop.
I'm Shop into the Nelly. Whoa, Nelly.
Appreciate John Nelson, man. He's a brilliant mind and what a gem for high school sports. It's amazing, and you guys have followed suit to be able to be, to recognize this part of the state with regards to all the things that you guys do and streaming on Georgia, Alabama Sports Live. Glad that you guys collaborate. Glad that you guys share information and you're a resource to John.
Yeah, and I appreciate John saying that, and that's what we love what we do. We see him, Matt Stewart, when they're the GPB Game of the Week, and we're trying to meet up to their standards, and they do an excellent job. And then when we were there for the Carver State Championship, you saw Nelly guiding the sidelines. I say guiding because he has got that powerful presence and love guys like him.
Well, I tell you what, Mike Vee, that was a treat coming on, Richard. I know that you had heard of him, but getting an opportunity to talk and converse with him, how did you feel?
Well, it was great just going down memory lane, but just meeting Mike Vee and just hearing his story has paved the way for broadcasters who want to come up, and especially in this Columbus market. I mean, he started with you, DJ, in the late 90s, and we've seen sports talk radio. We've seen others after him go on and do great things. And I think that I love just the evolution of sports broadcasting, especially here in Columbus, where you have not only the military audience with Fort Benning, but you also have the college town with the fan bases or the many college teams in the South.
Guys, just a couple of minutes here left in the show, but Judge Robin Fuson, of course, the presiding judge in Hillsborough County down in Tampa Bay. Man, I tell you, the former minor league player, over 10 years that he put in trying to chase his dreams of making it to the major leagues, but making that hard decision to, of course, decide to hang up the cleats, hang up the glove, and go ahead and pursue his law degree. And man, look at him now. He's changing lives, and he's making an impact in his community.
And again, it all boiled down to from his success as a player that played sports, and he attributes a lot of the reason why he was successful in his life because of being able to play team sports.
And I certainly appreciate what he means to, of course, Team Conversation, the community down in Tampa, what he means to my wife, Candy Lowe, and he's a great supporter, and really had a wonderful time with him this past weekend.
Yeah, and I know you did, and I'm glad that we were able to celebrate Aunt Candy.
All right. Well, you hear the music. If Richard would just turn it up just a little bit, and you know what that means. That's going to do it for this edition of the SportsVisions Morning Show. On behalf of Richard Holdridge, Thrift Barringer, I'm DJ Jones, reminding you to keep your eye on the ball.
Yeah. I find you, I give you all you need.
You've been listening to the SportsVisions Morning Show with DJ Jones and Thrift Barringer. Brought to you by Global Diagnostic Services and the Finley Firm. This is SportsVisions 92.1.
I try to teach you.
Everything is expensive right now. Gas, food, you name it. You're spending more, you are making the same or less money. So what do? You rack up credit card debt. That's what you do. It's not your fault. It's the economy. And guess